Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks Thought of the Day for Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. The day that we were all supposed to be able to get our Twin Peaks Season 3 limited series Blu-ray sets. Not many of us have it yet, but let me introduce my guests tonight. We have Mandy. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Great. Except, a little sad I don't have the set, but, it'll get here eventually. Amazon is promising by the 15th of December, which is another 10 days away, but it'll be fine. And then also we have Hal tonight. How's it going?
Hey, Cameron. Hey, Mandy. Mandy, whenever you're on, I have this urge to go into a Barry Manilow song. Why is that?
Because of the angel episode where he sings Mandy.
I remember all my life.
I was legitimately named after that song. I am not Amanda. I am just Mandy.
I bet you were.
And Angel thinks that song is really pretty when he sings it to Lauren. So that's cool. We may have Annie show up if she's not too tired. So that'll be great to have her as well. From the How's Annie YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. Have you guys been seeing these videos that she's been making lately? She's doing watch-alongs now to Planet Earth on Netflix, but she's doing them as Sarah Palmer watching nature shows.
That's great.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Right? So she's got her drink, and she's got a huge Dougie standee behind her, and then she's got her a picture frame of Fred Savage, who she calls her son, and she just sits there and just makes the most insane comments, like watching Planet Earth as Sarah Palmer. Like, that is taking like Twin Peaks fandom to a whole like Andy Kaufman level right there.
Right. So we should guest on there and be Harry Dean Stanton and Wild at Heart watching the animal videos going.
Oh my goodness.
To add that other meta level to it.
Exactly. Yeah, Lynch definitely has a fascination with like people watching like animals eating each other.
Right.
Sort of a theme you don't see written about on Twitter very much.
It's a metaphor for the dark side of human nature. Animals ripping each other's throats out.
But they're either like really like turned on about it, or they just like treat it so like nonchalantly. It's interesting. The two places that it's there, right? The Wild at Heart, and of course in Twin Peaks. We know after seeing the whole series / movie, we'll get into that discussion later. Why Sarah Palmer is kind of like looking at that footage, because obviously she's going to do the same thing to a trucker later.
Right.
Although that trucker should have been Leo Johnson. How great was that?
Oh my goodness.
I've been saying that too.
Or maybe not Leo. Maybe it should have been Buck.
Oh, Buck. That would have been great.
That would have been great too. And then Wild at Heart, it's more of like, because Wild at Heart, even though it's mostly a comedy, I mean, there's a lot of other aspects to it, but it's out of all of Lynch's like mainstream, like if I say mainstream, widely distributed films on the cinema screen, it definitely is the more comedic of all of them.
Yes.
And
comedic elements.
But there's a tremendous amount of hyper violence in that film as well. Mm-hmm. And so it just kind of seems like it's just part of the insanity of Wild at Heart, having Harry Dean Stanton laying on the bed barking and watching these nature documentaries. So
right.
Anyway, there is so much to get to tonight. You wouldn't think that 4 months out from the series ending, or at least this season ending, that we'd still have this amount of news, but we do. So, all right, I want to talk about one quick thing before Annie jumps on, if she jumps on. And that is 4 more women have come out to accuse Robert Knepper of sexual deviancy, I guess you could say. Wow. The first one seemed like him and his wife came out, kind of wanted to just like squash it right away. And so it wasn't like the Tom Sizemore thing where it's like, it was like, okay, well, they're being mature about it. Must be, some people might be saying stuff that might be true or might not be true. But now we have 4 more coming out. Ooh, that doesn't sound too good. So
yeah, and the accusations are pretty heinous too when you read the details of it.
Which I haven't. I just have, I just saw the headline. But wow,
it's pretty rapey.
Yeah, there's a very violent
yeah
tone to all of it. It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't read the details. I just saw the headline, and I was thinking, wow, this season has been incredibly blessed and cursed. If you think about it, with all the people unfortunately passing away, all the other people like getting arrested. We have Lindholm, who of course attacked his girlfriend with a bat. We have Sizemore, who still is maintaining his complete innocence. Somebody tweeted me after the Twin Peaks Festival, wrote "Happy Birthday, Tom Sizemore" on Twitter. I responded back going, "Hey, he was really great in the new series, but with these recent allegations coming out, it's kind of hard for me to like go happy birthday Tom Sizemore like all over the internet, right? It just is." And then somebody responded back to me saying, "Hey, this story doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Blah, 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 blah," and listed out a bunch of things. And then Tom Sizemore liked that response that person gave to me. So obviously he's monitoring social media about what people are saying about him. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm tired of reading about Twin Peaks in a negative light. And that's what's been happening lately. Between all that
Nazi guy,
that Nazi thing happening. It's like, I want to talk about the show. I want to talk about, the great aspects of it, but you can't ignore the other aspects. If you do, then you're just living like an ostrich in the sand.
You can't ignore it, but I don't see how it's associated. It's like saying, you can't ignore the fact that the White Album, Charlie Manson was influenced by and did Helter Skelter, right? But it's not the Beatles' fault. It has really nothing to do with the White Album. It's that was Manson's crazy head.
No, of course. Although the thing is, though, it's not like in the case of that Nazi thing, and me even just saying that word is going to give us like 10 thumbs down, like automatically, I'm sure. But one aspect of it is, and there are a lot of people coming forward. I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying that there are a lot of people coming forward saying that the lack of diversity in a lot of Lynch's casting in his films, in this series, even though there are people of other ethnicities in it, but they're saying that the lack of diversity allows people who have hateful views towards ethnicities to gravitate towards his work because they won't have, that kind of stuff shoved in their faces. So they're saying that even if Lynch means it or not, he's bringing in the Aryan Brotherhood into his work. And I'm just like, oh my Lord. The fact is that it's not just the rantings of just one crazed person. There's a whole movement on the internet suggesting this is the reason why. And that to me is just
what a twisted interpretation of Lynch's art.
but you know what though? Because Lynch works in a way that is open to interpretation.
Right.
It invites whatever beliefs, thoughts people have towards his work.
True.
And that is the great thing about his work. And it's also the negative thing about his work. I don't remember because I was really young, but when Blue Velvet came out, people looked at Isabella Rossellini as the brunette, Laura Dern as the blonde, and feminists got up in arms about it, saying that he was saying that Dorothy Valens was, a certain segment of the female population. And Laura Dern is, the innocent population. We have the Madonna whore complex.
Right.
And Lynch is like, no, I was just making a movie about Dorothy Valens and Sandy over here.
Right.
But when you have one brunette and one blonde, you can see how people would maybe, see their own beliefs in it, not knowing that he's also working within the film noir genre, which is all about brunettes and blondes. It's very Hitchcock, right? So that's the one great thing about Lynch, and the one bad thing about Lynch. You see what you want to see.
Exactly. And again, with the Beatles, it's like, all that Paul is dead stuff that people read clues into their records and stuff. And like they're walking across Abbey Road and people interpreted that. See, Paul's dead because he's barefoot. He's the barefoot corpse. And then George has got jeans on. He's the Undertaker. And John's got all white on. He's the preacher. And Ringo's the pallbearer because he's in a suit. It's like, no, it's like, why was Paul barefoot that day? It was hot day. He took his sandals off. It's as simple as that.
It all comes down to John Lennon stating, "I was the walrus." Okay.
Well, he made that song Glass Onion where he's like, "Here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul." That was directed at people that were reading stuff into it. It's like, what a joke. And at the end, it's like, all I'm doing is making a dovetail joint. And I'm just making gobbledygook lyrics. Beautiful. Anyway,
all right. Well, you know
Beatles
what?
Tangent. Don't get me started.
Well, you know what though? I'm going to pause the show right now because of that. So before we get into all the fun discussions, let's have a little bit of fun. Since we were just talking about this, we also need to kind of cleanse ourselves after talking about Nefer and Nazis and all that stuff. Yeah.
Shake it off.
There's no great segue I can do with that. But okay, now it's December 5th. I hope to have you on again soon, Hal, because I would like to do sort of a fire walk with me, watch along with everybody. Even though I know you're against watch alongs, but you should come on and do it as part of a fundraiser thing for the film.
Sure. No, I'm not against it. I get distracted. I start watching the film and I immerse in the film. I can't think of anything to say.
Well, my hope is that we'll have almost everybody on here so that if you have nothing to say, someone will be talking.
Good. Plus, I've seen it enough times now that I can probably try to fight that urge.
Exactly. But yeah, I hope you'll be on for that or another podcast as well. But if I don't see you like I see you right now, before Christmas, I found something that I think you will really like, and I think you guys will really like it too. So if you guys have screen capture, be ready. So Hal, let me tell you a little story. I grew up primarily in a single household with my mom and my sister. My dad, I never met my dad. My dad left the family when I was around 1.
We have similar backgrounds then.
Yes. So I never really met him ever. I've never talked to him. I've never done anything like that. But let me just make sure. Yeah. But it was funny when I started writing, I would say around 9-10 years old, just writing little short stories and that type of thing. My mom told me that I think I'd known about this, but I didn't really know anything about it. But she said that that my dad was a newspaper writer and also wrote script treatments for Hollywood studios because they were down in Southern California at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, I could care less because I never knew the guy and honestly didn't really feel anything, think anything, respect him because, I mean, he wasn't even around.
Understood.
And he left my mom with, several $100,000s worth of bills that she had to pay off.
Yikes.
Ran away with his secretary amongst many other women, unfortunately. However, I'm going to turn the ship around here. But he did work for a newspaper, and he had a column, and they would send him on assignments. So one of those assignments, I believe I could be wrong, but I think he flew to Minneapolis to cover something. And, he was there. And so he showed up early, had front row seats, and was like, back then, he had to take his own pictures and then write the article for it. So unfortunately, I don't think they used any of the pictures, but they used the article. I can't even find the article to this day. But anyway, long story short, my mom found these, and so I made copies for you because I know you're super awesome, and for being a part of this podcast. Let's see, and that is, yeah. So my dad had front row seats. These have never been seen before,
Wow.
but these are original pictures of the Beatles.
Wow.
These pictures.
Nice.
So we got George and John, and we got Ringo there.
Oh, wow. Those are great.
And then we got Ringo here. I love this cop. Look how he's like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. So that had to be 65 tour because their hair is long enough. Yeah.
And there's Paul and George there.
Awesome. Look at those microphones.
Yeah. Mine looks pretty much the same. And then this one.
Ah, great.
And then I got this one as well. And
nice.
I think.
Hey, look, Ringo's doing "Got a Light."
Yeah. Anyway, so I found these and I was like, oh, that's super cool. So I made you copies of them. And so you'll be one of the few people that have copies of
wow.
these pictures that have never been published.
That's awesome, man.
Of the Beatles. So
now do you want to keep them unpublished? There's a fanzine called Beatle Fan that would love to see those.
Well, contact them and let me know.
I will. They'd love to print them, and they'd give your dad credit or whatever you want. I don't know. They're just a fanzine, but yeah.
I don't want to give my dad credit for anything.
Give you credit.
No. But anyway, I thought you would like to see those.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. That's awesome. Very cool.
Okay. All right. Now let's start. Where should we start? Because there is a lot to get to. Okay, let's just start with the big topic. The big topic for today.
Okay.
What the heck is going on CBS and Showtime's end?
Yeah.
In regards to this Blu-ray set.
Yeah. Where's my Blu-ray? It's December 5th. Look, it's December 5th. Where's my Blu-ray?
My hands are empty. I got nothing in my hands.
All right, let me just explain this to anyone who doesn't know. It comes out today, right? Now I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm just speaking generally here. Amazon.com has not, at least in the States, has not sent their shipments out yet.
Right.
If you go to their website, last time I looked, they say they're out of stock and you cannot order it anymore. That's red flag number one.
So do you have Prime? I was thinking maybe they understocked and they just shipped the Prime members and then.
No, because even Prime people haven't gotten it.
Okay.
So we have that. However, some people, I don't know if it was through Amazon or whatever, some people found their Blu-ray sets waiting for them on Saturday.
Wasn't that more in the UK though?
It may have been, but I know at least one person in the States received it on a Saturday.
From Amazon or from somewhere else?
I don't know, but that's breaking street date by, a few days.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Amazon has not sent theirs out. When I check, it says, that it's going to be delivered somewhere between the 11th and the 15th, same as you, Hal, but it will be here by the 15th.
Yes.
However, somebody did tell me today that their Amazon thing said the same thing, that it hadn't been shipped, and yet they got it today.
See, that's kind of what happened to me on the final dossier, where it said it was going to be shipped, or it would arrive like 10 days in the future, and then all of a sudden it shipped, and I got it the next day. It was weird.
Right.
So I'm crossing my fingers that this December 15th thing is going to change in the next day.
Phoenix in the chat says Amazon says hers will be delivered December 21st.
Wow.
Cindy says my order doesn't even have a date.
Wow.
Okay, but it gets worse, because if this was just an Amazon thing, then I would be like, well, this is sort of like the final dossier for me, where I pre-ordered it the day it came out and I got it way later than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of you nice people out there sent me like Kindle codes and things so I could like read it, so I could make the videos and discuss the book and not do it like a month and a half later after everybody else. So that was very, very kind. And of course, we had that wonderful viewer that sent me the autographed Mark Frost book. That was great. It was amazing. She's a big fan of yours, Hal.
I loved it. That was very flattering.
Yeah. So if you want to talk to Hal, Donate some money towards the fan film I'm making, Queen of Hearts. We'll talk about all that later. But anyway, so let's get into the meat of this, because I thought this was just an Amazon problem. I now know that it's a CBS Showtime problem, because I did some poking around today, and Target and Walmart, I'm not sure about the websites, but Target and Walmart are not carrying this Blu-ray set in their stores.
It's not on either of, it's not on the websites either.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know how big Walmart is in the States?
Oh, yeah.
For them not to stock this is to me a wow thing. I'm not too shocked about Target, even though some people are, because they said, well, Target had that Roadhouse exclusive, Live for the Bang Bang Bar CD, so why don't they have this? Well, it's because Target rarely gets Blu-rays of TV shows. Every once in a while, but for the most part, they don't. But what surprises me is that they don't even carry the DVD box set of season 3. And the DVD box set, is basically the Blu-ray set, but it doesn't have I don't think it has the Richard Beamer documentaries. But why isn't Target stocking that? I have no idea. But then it gets even worse.
So now, is it Walmart's, is that, nationwide, they're not stocking it?
Yes, nationwide.
Who makes those decisions?
I don't know. I don't know.
You'd think they'd get like one copy for each store or something.
It gets worse, Hal. It gets worse. Speaking of one copy, Barnes and Noble, each store gets one copy at $75 a set. One copy.
Is that the list price, or where'd they get that figure?
Because Barnes and Noble hikes it up. They always charge retail. So it's at 75 there. Best Buy, each store got 3 copies. And many, many customers were told upon arrival at 10 a.m. that all 3 copies were already spoken for by people who ordered off the website and asked for store pickup. So you couldn't even walk in the store and pick it up.
Wow.
I mean, you could if you pre-ordered it, I guess, off their site. But what is going on?
Yeah, how many sales are they losing here?
Well, we're all going to get it eventually.
Well, I know, but I mean,
this is not a Christmas back order thing. This is, for whatever reason, they don't believe they're going to sell a lot, which is absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to at least sell. Okay, let's say 2 million people watch the show. They're going to sell at least 1 million, right? And I'm sorry, but 3 in each Best Buy, and none in Walmart, none in Target, and none on Amazon. Zavvi.com apparently still has them, and they're shipping. But I'm getting messages from people saying they can't even find places online anymore that will ship it. The other thing that's really weird, and I threw this out online today, why doesn't Vudu and iTunes have a digital copy yet for people to buy? When I go on Vudu or iTunes, whatever, and I want to pick up the latest season of Homeland when it comes out, I can get it first day. Why isn't Twin Peaks available? I mean, I know David Lynch wants his work preserved in a certain way and seen, but okay, now the Blu-ray's out. Just drop it, because I'm ready to just buy it digitally too until I get my set. I mean, the extras won't be on the digital version, unfortunately, probably not. But I don't even understand why that's not available in this day and age. This is kind of out of Lynch's hands at the moment, I would think. This is now a Showtime thing. So, I mean, is Lynch's contract still saying like no digital version? Has to be.
The entire mystery box set didn't have these issues, did it?
The entire mystery set never went to iTunes and Vudu. I mean, yeah, you can get HD versions of it, but to this day, you can't buy the missing pieces as a streamable thing.
Right, but I mean, as far as the distribution in these stores like Walmart and stuff, did they carry that back then, or do you remember? Or did we even look into that? I don't. I mean, I just ordered mine online, so I don't really follow that stuff so much. But
It was widely available.
I would think so. Yeah.
It honestly was. I mean, you could. I mean, you couldn't walk in Walmart and pick it up. Okay, but Best Buy carried it, and then when they reissued it without that 10th disc, when it was just the was it not the 9 disc where it just went up to Firewalk Me, you didn't get that documentary disc,
Right.
That was all over Best Buy. So I don't want to think they underestimated people buying this, because that's absurd. Do you see how many people like tweet and retweet and post about this show on a daily basis? You're telling me that those, at least, the 100,000 people on Welcome to Twin Peaks on Facebook isn't going to buy a copy? They're going to buy it. Even if they didn't like the series, they're going to buy it for those 3 scenes they did like. They're going to buy it to watch David Lynch direct in those featurettes.
Maybe they got so many pre-orders that they didn't press enough, and now they're scrambling to press them. That would be the positive spin on it, is, they don't have enough to go around with all the pre-orders, and they're scrambling to get them made,
Nick in the chat is saying Barnes & Noble currently has it at 61. I don't know if that's with your coupon codes or what, but I don't know. I mean, other people are saying this isn't absurd. There's not any people around in my town that watches Twin Peaks. Well, you don't know that. But I mean, I would expect there to be, listen, I don't care if you're a Twin Peaks fan or not a Twin Peaks fan. This is about a TV show. Yes, it's a TV series. Yes, it was made as, one long thing, but it was made into a TV series. We watched it weekly. There were beginning and end credits to every episode. It's this is a major release right now, right? And when Penny Dreadful season 3 came out, that nobody cared about, that still was found in every Best Buy, Target, and Walmart. So you're telling me, do you know how many people, if they put 10 copies in every store, I at least 5 or 6 of them would have been sold in every store today.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, but maybe we're clouded by our fandom. I don't know.
No, because listen. Do you see how many DVDs and things I have behind me? I mean, I know about the releases of these things. This has to be a Lynch thing in his contract to not have any streamable version available, which I don't understand.
Yeah, but I just don't understand the stuff not being in stock. I don't think that's a Lynch problem. I think that's a Showtime problem. Yeah, that's just
But why would Showtime announce this December 5th thing? Why have all these websites, Welcome to Twin Peaks, other websites, dropping these like teasers for the Blu-ray set, like the last week and a half? Sabrina Sutherland's posting these stories. Other people are posting these stories. The fan pages are posting these stories. You can't go on Twitter without seeing one of these things up there.
You'd think they'd be ready to go on December 5th.
Yeah, you would think it's like, okay, we're primed. Are you ready to now dive deeper into the Twin Peaks experience? And it's like, yes. And then December 5th comes along and everyone's like, huh?
Yeah. Well, I can't find it nowhere.
No. People have been complaining on Amazon and managing to get an extension on their Prime, because some people like signed up for Prime just to get it on time. And some people are getting like $15, $20 credits. So you can use this to your advantage. But I'm just a little sad. I mean, I don't care about like, well, it's not in my hand right now. I find it sad that I can't just go to a store that carries a lot of DVDs and TV shows of things that I've seen on the shelf for 6 months that haven't moved. Yeah. And they can't stock Twin Peaks. And then someone could say to me, okay, well, physical media is dying. Fine. Then where's the streamable version? They're not even offering that. I mean, yeah, you can get it on the Showtime site, but I can still watch Penny Dreadful on how many things now? iTunes, Vudu, Showtime. I can watch it many, many places. So I really don't know. And I guess that's if there was like a concrete answer, I would be like, okay, this is who messed up. This is why it messed up, but we're going to learn from this, and awesome. But nobody knows what's going on. You know, keep in mind, in 3 weeks, we're going to be not even caring about this because we're all going to have it. But at this moment, it just seems like
feels disappointing.
It feels like a giant cluster, you know what, on whose part. You know, I don't know. If I was David Lynch right now, I would be super PO'd. But I don't even think that, like, you know, this is even getting back to him.
He's making quinoa and making his table and painting something.
But when Sabrina posted a thing saying it's out today, and you have other people and myself chiming in the comments, you know, very respectfully, you know, just kind of talking amongst each other, saying, "Hey, this isn't available anywhere right now." You know, I know she's reading that stuff, and I would hope that Sabrina Sutherland, as wonderful as nice as a person she is, you know that, you know, if something came down that really ticked her off, she'd be on that phone right away screaming at somebody. So I really do hope Sabrina Sutherland's on the phone with somebody saying, someone needs to get their button gear and start pressing Blu-ray sets now.
Maybe they're holding them all back because David Lynch secretly is going to autograph each one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Try to be positive.
Is it possible? I mean, let's play conspiracy here for a second. Is it possible? Because we had the, you know, those.
The sound sync problems. No,
not that. We had the pop-up.
No manufacturing defects. Please.
No, we had the pop-up diners. We had the UK festival. We had the Festival of Disruption. Is it possible? I don't know why Showtime would want to piss people off. So this is my conspiracy thing. Is it possible that this is one of the last things that Showtime does to gauge audience interest at the negotiating table for season 4?
Oh, to see if we all go berserk. Where's my discs? See how up in arms we get when we're denied our peaks.
I don't know. I'm just saying, to make a major mistake like this is insane with this much press for a release. And I mean, there are more copies of, I don't know, some terrible TV show that you know, watched one episode of at Best Buy right now, and no Twin Peaks there.
Right. You can go get John from Cincinnati. The old HP.
Hey, whenever you think about that show, anything with a David Milch commentary is pretty cool.
I actually liked that show. It was just one of those legendary, what the hell, you know, kind of shows.
Well, it's because
it's like we didn't get season 4 of Deadwood for John for Cincinnati, you know.
Exactly. What do you think happened, Mandy?
Well, Canada is its own other story. So,
hang on a second. Hang on though. Okay. George says, and he says, Showtime says it's in stock on their store for $65. Well, how convenient.
Maybe that's really what it comes down to.
They don't want to.
Showtime's going, let us sell through first before you.
Well, and also there's going to be another pop-up store coming up this week.
It's the Roadhouse, right?
It's the Roadhouse one.
Yeah.
Where's
in LA? It's in LA. It's same thing as the Double R, but this time it's called the Roadhouse.
Yes.
I don't think they know where it is yet, but it's coming up. I think it's or next week, I guess.
I wonder if they're going to have the bands from the show, you know,
or if they're going to have all of our bloody Blu-rays. They just swipe them up so that they could sell them live or something. I don't know. It seems weird though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now. Here's where it gets even weirder if I keep saying that, but it just, there's so many twists in it. Denise Dezine says there are currently none listed on eBay because there were stories going around that people had swiped into Best Buy, picked up 3 copies, and we're going to just start, you know, selling these online and hiking up the price. But apparently there's no copies to be found on eBay. So this is completely a manufacturing problem.
Very unusual.
Yes, this is very unusual, and unlike Dougie, they didn't manufacture this properly. Oh my God, I can't believe it! And Showtime, of course, is selling it for $65. Oh my, I'm just reading through everything. Nick says, "I'm going to the Roadhouse." Nick, if you go to the Roadhouse, you are to contact me ASAP so we can do a live stream from inside because I want to see it. George says, anyone who would upsell this on eBay is a total POS. And Nick continues to say, I'm on my way to Barnes & Noble now to go get his one copy if they still have it. You ever gone in Barnes & Noble and looked at their Blu-rays and stuff like that? They have all the expensive ones behind the counter so you can't even touch it, but they have it like a trophy case back there. It was all like nicely presented, and it's like, "Ooh, can I have that Stanley Kubrick box set for $365, please?"
Right. A jewel case.
Yeah. Amazon not taking any more orders. Insane. Even on Black Friday, Brown Thursday, whatever you want to call it, they said, hey, this item is no longer in stock, but you pre-order it, we'll send it when it comes in. They don't even have that as an option.
And what's the deal with, in the UK, I saw that there's like 2 price tiers, one with different packaging, or what's that about?
Probably one's the DVD and one's the Blu-ray because it has different extras.
No, they're both Blu-rays, but there's like one that has, it's like deluxe packaging, and they're charging like £20 more than the, I don't know. There was some people talking about that over in the UK. They're like, what's the difference? There's 2 prices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm profoundly disappointed and sad, and somebody needs to get their butt in gear. I don't know who it is, but someone needs to. I want to see Sabrina. I want to see it. Yeah, forget about David Lynch. Putting makeup on a woodsman. I want to see Sabrina on a phone with Showtime saying, "Get your butt in gear. Get those Blu-ray sets out now." Before I torch your offices. I just can imagine her sort of like Ice Cube and Straight Outta Compton just walking in there with a bat and just start bashing Showtime executives' offices and stuff. That would be fantastic. We adore Sabrina, but I'll tell you one thing. I would never, ever want to be on her bad side. I can just tell. Can't you just tell that she is someone who gets things done? She got this whole Twin Peaks series done on her shoulders.
Yeah, I don't see her suffering fools at all.
No. So Sabrina, if you're watching, and I know you do, kick their ass, please. I want my Blu-ray set. Oh my goodness. George says, this is BS. Target and Walmart are cool enough to sell Stranger Things, but not Twin Peaks.
Uh-oh. You're gonna get the wrath of Mandy now.
No, I'm okay. I got my Blu-ray. So
how's season 2? Did you like it?
Not as much as the first one.
Okay.
I have to watch it again, but there were issues with it. I liked it, but I wasn't as impressed as what I thought I would be. So, so yeah, I was a little sad. But if I watch it 3 more times, I might change my mind. So, but yeah. So Canada, as far as I'm aware, did not receive any Blu-rays of anything. So when you were on Amazon.ca, I didn't pre-order it because it always said that it was an import, and it was $70. And I didn't understand the import thing because we get everything you guys get mostly. It's just more expensive. And so I didn't pre-order. I thought, okay, I'm going to go to Best Buy. I'm going to call Best Buy first thing in the morning, make sure that they've got it. They're going to think I'm an idiot. That's totally fine. And when I finally got through to them, they did have a couple of the DVDs, but they didn't have the Blu-rays. And I called around to another Best Buy in another town, and they said that the Blu-rays were not released to Best Buy in BC at all, like in my province at all. No Blu-rays at all. Called Walmart. They didn't receive anything at all. And then Amazon, first thing this morning, they were temporarily out of stock, like immediately. So you couldn't even pre-order it, order it, nothing. So yeah, it's you guys at least have Blu-rays. I could have gotten the DVD today, which I was really tempted to, but that's a waste of money. And I know that I like exercise self-control, right? I was like, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I don't understand why we have no Blu-rays anywhere. So
well, and the weird thing is, I know you've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff that websites have been posting and stuff, but I saw the first one of Lynch directing Kyle and Laura in the hotel room. I think we talked about that before. How
That's right. Yeah.
But I haven't watched any of the others because I'm like, well, the Blu-ray set's right around the corner. So, I mean, I'm paying for it. So I don't want to be watching the Blu-ray already feeling like I'm watching a repeat. Right. So I kind of held off on watching that stuff, and I still am. But it's just, it's kind of a bummer. A lot of fans like purposely sat out, not, looking away from their news feeds to, watch any of this stuff. And now it's like, we still don't have it. And I don't know. It's like, if you're not going to be ready, then why drop all that stuff?
yeah,
Unless you're dropping that stuff because you may think that it's not going to sell, or so say, hey, the people who watch Twin Peaks they're mostly internet savvy people. So we'll just maybe leak some of the good clips online so they don't have to buy it. I don't know. I mean, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, well, and the clips are only like, a minute and 30 seconds or something.
Still though, you're talking a minute and 30 seconds out of a 20-minute featurette. I mean, it's still.
Well, but out of 8 hours total, though, I mean, they're dropping 3 or 4 minute long things,
Right, but they're not showing the crap. They're showing stuff that's going to make you buy the set.
Yeah, it whets your appetite for sure.
And really, yeah, like I mean, the stuff that has been released, it's awesome. Like
it is.
There was one with Hal, did you see the one with Kyle yesterday? With Kale?
No, I watched the first couple, and then like Cameron, I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait now. I don't want to watch all of them, but I probably missed that.
I like gravitated to that like immediately, and there was a Kyle one yesterday. It's so exciting, even just seeing it's like 30 seconds. It shows him when he's at the end of episode 2 when he's going to fall through the floor, and just him shaking around and stuff like that. And David Lynch is directing him, and it's just when you see it, you'll be like, man, that's amazing. It's just cool.
I've seen that one.
When he drops?
No, I just saw him shaking around and stuff. But I see, it's like Lynch directing, but if you look behind him, one of his sons is directly behind Lynch, like watching the whole thing and stuff. I think it's the one I think it's Austin who played little David Lynch, the grandson in
right, the cream corn guy.
He looks exactly like David Lynch in that scene as a little kid. You know what I mean? He just has the same.
Yeah, he does.
The same face, the same hair.
Yeah.
It's like CGI, like Benjamin Button or something.
Yeah. Je t'aime un solitaire.
That's funny. I didn't even notice him, but I knew there was a guy behind them, but I wasn't paying attention to it. But anyway, the clips are cool. They're really neat. I can't wait to see the 8 hours of them. So
the one I liked was where Lynch is showing how Kyle needs to come out of the box, the New York City box, and he needs to float like this. Did you see that one? That was great, man.
Yeah, well, and it's funny how. I mean, we can go into this obviously another time once we've seen it and seen more of this stuff. But
spoilers.
His direction is really cool.
Yeah.
Let me pause.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just let me pause there. Everyone's correcting me, saying that no, that was Riley Lynch. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
It wasn't Austin. It was Riley. So see, my mind is going crazy with all this Blu-ray talk. So
Yeah, Austin was the kid in season 2. Austin was the grandson with Mrs. Tremont, right?
Right.
That was Austin, and then Riley was the
guitarist
in season 3. The guitarist,
right. The one looking for Billy.
Right.
That the subtitle said Bing. Someone's who has the Blu-ray. Check to make sure they fix the subtitles,
right?
Because Sabrina was maintaining like that was a Showtime F up. We're gonna have it fixed. Don't worry. Let's make sure it's fixed. That would be good. Go ahead, Mandy. I'm sorry.
Maybe that's
What
what's
was I,
holding
what
up.
was I
Maybe
saying?
that's what's holding up the Blu-rays. is They forgot to fix that.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't know.
right. Can you
Listen,
imagine?
and I heard that there is a clip of Cheryl Lee kind of pushing back at David Lynch about filming the whole scene backwards when she gets off the couch and walks in. In the show she walks in and sits down on the couch, but they had to film that whole thing backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently,
The clip is not her pushing back; it's her saying, and he's like, "We're gonna do this forward, then we're gonna do it backwards," and she's like,
She's just
"We're
like,
gonna do
really?
it backwards,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Okay," and that's it. That's not pushback. Oh,
really,
news.
wow,
Yeah.
people have been talking to me saying like, oh, you should see it. You can tell that Cheryl Lee's just kind of angry with Lynch making her do it backwards and stuff. I'm like,
No.
see again. You see what we want. You see what you want to see. I
Right,
guess.
right. Yeah, I saw that one. It's not angry at all. It's just more like, this is going to be hard,
You
And
just
it's
you
like,
feel
yeah,
bad for her because you know
yeah.
that she's gonna have to do all this crap backwards, forwards, this way, that way, and she's just like, oh shoot.
And the one where the giant or the fireman's learning his line backwards with the iPhone, they play it and
Yeah.
they record. He says it backwards and then they play it forward so you can hear it if I did it right. And he's practicing it. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, they're all awesome.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what I like about it is that when you're seeing David Lynch kind of act out these scenes for his people,
Yeah,
they do it exactly the way he wants,
yeah.
like exactly the way.
And it's like it's all in
described.
his head. He just shuts his eyes, and it's like he's seeing it in his mind. And
Yeah,
it needs to be like this. It needs to go like this, and then you do this, and then it comes around here, and it's amazing
and
how he works.
they do
yeah.
it perfectly. Like they're so in sync with him. It is.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. That's why I can't wait to see more of that. Not just 30 seconds here and there, but
I
man,
hope it's 8 hours of mostly that stuff. I would
Okay,
love it.
Yeah.
but here's what I'm hearing. Again, hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm hearing a lot of these featurettes have what is called unnecessary narration, and I really don't want that.
That
I
would
just
suck.
want behind the scenes footage, Lynch doing his thing, cut, and off we go.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear
I want the camera as unblinking eye watching David Lynch work.
exactly. Aren't you a little shocked? I mean, because we're longtime Lynch fans here. Aren't you a little shocked that he allowed this much behind the scenes access that we think we're going to get with this thing?
Yeah, that's why I'm salivating. I mean, it's kind of unprecedented, and
Yeah.
Even Pretty as a Picture, that documentary had maybe a minute, 2 minutes of, I mean, we are talking behind the scenes of Lost Highway of like not really interesting stuff.
yeah.
It was
Well,
like,
even in that clip of the behind the scenes at Lost Highway, there's one part where the camera's shooting and Lynch looks over at him like, "Get out of here! Like, not now." Did you see that bit? He kind of like chastises him with his eyes, like, "Go away!" And then the shot ends.
like we see Lynch sitting behind the camera during Fred's like saxophone moment where he's like with the strobe light and all that. That's not really him directing, right? It's him it's just kind of behind the scenes of that moment. There's a few little things here and there. We see some behind the scenes stuff of a scene they cut out from Lost Highway, which is really cool. But you don't get a lot of like hands-on like shots of him doing stuff. This looks like he allowed the camera people to be right in his face as he's doing everything.
Completely.
And I am shocked because his whole thing is about keep the mystery alive. You would think, like all his other films, I mean, that there would be almost next to nothing of his process. Maybe there'd be stuff about a costumer or something saying, "Oh, David Lynch wanted this," but Lynch would never be like on camera talking about his process. And here we have him. It's like it would be like watching like actually seeing like a 3-hour documentary of Terrence Malick directing a movie or something. It's like it's unprecedented. I've never seen this before. So I really hope that the payoff is as awesome as it sounds. And it does sound awesome because I've been reading a few of the Blu-ray reviews. One coming off Blu-ray.com by Martin Liebman and one by Tim Solomon on the Digital Bits. And they're both saying this is like the box set of the year.
Excellent.
In terms of quality, not in terms of packaging. Because I've already gotten emails from people saying their set is already broken.
Yeah, that flimsy stuff, watching Kimmy Robertson show that, she's like, "Whoops!" It's you can tell it's going to break apart. But
I mean, people broke apart their entire mystery box set just trying to get one of the discs out. I'm not a fan of these cardboard sleeves that you got
I
to
hate
put
those too. I'm with you, man. Where you have to scratch it to get it out of there.
Yeah, so I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Go to Office Depot, pick up a empty Blu-ray case, and put your discs in there, because the amount of times you're gonna be taking these discs in and out, just put your nice limited edition series on the shelf, and then grab the Blu-ray case for your discs.
Yeah, but now your shelf space goes from this to this.
You know what though, Twin Peaks, accommodations must be made.
Understood. I'm with you.
I wouldn't do that for the director's cut of The Lovely Bones or anything like that, but for Twin Peaks season 3, I'll do it.
Yes.
Nick Solon says Barnes and Noble only had the DVD. So yeah, it's pretty wild. George says the quality is awesome. I skipped through a few scenes of parts 1 and 2 today. Everybody is saying this, and we've been thinking about this, but now it's been confirmed. Everyone was like, "Hey, you thought it looked good on the Showtime streaming. You ain't seen nothing yet on the Blu-ray."
That's why I've been holding off on the rewatch, just because I'm going, okay, I just want to give some space and then wait for that Blu-ray to come out and immerse again and see it in its high quality.
Exactly. And I'm just so happy because so many times we talked about that black compression on Showtime.
Yeah.
It looked so grainy and bizarre. At times I couldn't even tell what was on the screen.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I cannot wait. I think this will really improve a lot of people's experiences with aspects of the show that they may have found problematic.
I still want an answer to the question that I posed a few episodes back, where if it's encoded in 7.1 and I've only got 5.1, am I losing information, or is that other 2-channel information mixed in enough to where you're not losing anything? It's just going to be part of the 5.1. It's just not separated.
Well, I'll tell you this: when you watch the gold box set, or you watch the entire mystery, if you watch it in 5.1. Okay, again, if you don't have a decent sound system, but if you just watch it in 5.1 through your TV and maybe a couple speakers on the side, you are losing stuff.
Oh yeah,
I always I probably will get chastised for this, but I always watch Twin Peaks in 2.0.
Yeah, but you don't have 5.1?
I do.
Okay.
But I always watch it in 2.0. One, it reminds me of the original. Just watching it.
See that. Yeah, I don't like remix, but when it's made in 7.1, then I kind of want to hear it that way. But I hope I'm not losing anything with 5.1.
Well, here's the thing: when they remixed the original series into 5.1 or whatever it was, 6.1, whatever it is on the Blu-ray set, there are lines, there are sound effects that don't come through, that you get only in the 2.0. There are lines missing because of music and sound effects going over it. Whereas if you watch on the 2.0, you get.
But you're watching at 5.1, but with your system's only stereo, right? That's why you're losing it, right?
Right, but it's not a line that should be coming around the back of you. I mean, it's just a throwaway line, but that throwaway line is missing.
Yeah.
In that track. Happens a lot, believe it or not.
Yeah.
They get so happy with the music and the sound effects that they go, dialogue, who gives a shit?
Right.
So it happens all the time. Everybody's saying, you can order this thing on Best Buy right now, $47.99. Here's the thing about Best Buy: if it is in the store, they will price match anything, pretty much. So if you have Amazon, even if they're not shipping it, just show them the $47.99 price, and Best Buy will sell it to you for that price.
Except if you're in Canada, because Best Buy Canada says it's sold out online and not available in stores. So literally, we are a sad unit up here. Cannot get it anywhere.
Let me ask you something. Canada, I've been there. I had a great time there. It's a very nice, beautiful country. But why is it like a third world country when it comes to shipping? Why does it cost like $80 to like ship things from the States?
I wish I had the answer. It's terrible. Yeah. When we send things down there or anything comes up here, I mean, you're looking 25, $30 for a small, like, you know, small package. Bigger packages, it's ridiculous. But
Wow.
All right, well,
I
Twin
have
Peaks outside the city limits says $39.99 here in Canada, Best Buy.
$39.99.
What province are you in?
that would probably be the DVD though.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, it says like you can't order it online. It says it's sold out online. And like I can go down the street and pick up the DVD right now too, but I don't want to.
But you also don't get the Richard Beamer documentaries.
Exactly. There's no point. Why
Yeah.
they even released a DVD to begin with makes zero sense to me.
Because
Especially if it's
you had people automatically when that entire mystery set dropped. Oh man, there were people upset. Why is this thing only on Blu-ray? Why can't this thing be on DVD? Do you expect all DVD people to like have to shell out for this Blu-ray thing? Let me tell you something. You can go to Costco, you can go to Walmart, you can pick up a brand new Blu-ray player, even if it's a rinky-dink one, for like $30 now. You know, sell some of those, you know, old Tupac Shakur DVDs that you bought back in the mid 90s and, you know, go buy a Blu-ray player.
right. Sometimes they release stuff to
So
push
random.
push the new technology. You know, it's like you buy a Blu-ray player. Yeah.
George says,
Time to upgrade.
friends don't let friends buy Twin Peaks on DVD.
There you go.
Why can't I get it on VHS?
Now, that would have been cool if they released season 3 in a VHS box set. I would be all over that.
No, beta only.
No.
The extra footage be on beta.
No, but I want season 3 to match those VHS box sets with the pictures on it and stuff, and you can line it up
with
you
the
can-
wood panel box.
Oh my god! You know what? If Showtime wants to make money, and apparently they don't because they're not shipping these things out. But if you want to charge like $115 on your website, put a VHS version of this thing out there.
Right.
There are
For
hipsters.
hipsters. Yeah.
There are hipster collectors out there that are all over this thing, and I might be one of them.
That's truly ill.
And George says,
even
25
go
video
ahead.
box set.
even with like the Stranger Things DVD, like first of all, we don't need it because we have Netflix, but I literally just wanted it because it's in the shape of a VHS and I thought it was cool.
Oh, for the 80s theme.
Do you know what was not cool? Was charging whatever $25, $27 for it, and then Black Friday taking it all to $10, and people rushing in hordes to get it. And then if you watch anybody who went shopping on Black Friday on their videos on YouTube, every Target had like 700 copies of it, and it was. I went there like 3 days later. They still had 500 copies of it. So apparently they overproduced Stranger Things, thinking that people were going to go crazy and buy this thing. And you know what would have sold it even better if they had extras. And there's no extras on it.
Maybe that's why we're not getting the
literally
peaks
just
because
packaging.
the pressing plants were too busy doing the Stranger Things.
Well, I don't understand because why buy Stranger? Okay, so I know you're a fan, so I'm not knocking that, but I'm saying why buy? What's the drive to make me buy Stranger Things on Blu-ray? Besides just having a disc version.
Right. I was going to say, Cameron, you buy Scooby-Doo.
No. But I'm saying, what's the thing that makes me buy it when Netflix has the same thing, but no extra perks? Like, give me something. Give me a Duffer Brothers commentary track for like 3 episodes or something. I don't know. Just give me something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bare bones with no bonus features. That's wrong.
Well, yeah, and in retrospect, I mean, it was a stupid purchase because
No, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that, but I'm saying like, why? How do you entice people who have Netflix to go out and then buy what they can just sit and stream at any second that they want for free?
But what's weird is that with House of Cards, when they released all of those, they all had extra features on them.
No, they don't. I have them.
I thought they did.
Maybe some of them, but at least 1 through 3 don't.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was mistaken. I thought they had. I thought they had that.
And they should, because I mean, even the pilot should have a David Fincher commentary.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about that news, real quick? That Robin Wright's going to take over the show. It's pretty cool, but I listen. Kevin Spacey obviously has his issues, has his problems, but they need to figure out a way to handle that character. You don't want to come back season 6 and all of a sudden he died off screen. Like, that's just a bummer.
Well, that's the thing. And how much have they filmed already? What have they done? And how are they going to splice this up to make a logical story out of it? And I mean, kudos to the writers for figuring that out. But I mean, they're going to have a mess on their hands when they come back in January trying to, figure out what they're going to do with this, because they had been filming already for a little while. So to scrap all that would be a waste for them. I'm not condoning, obviously, any of this stuff. I mean, it needs to be scrapped, but how they're going to rewrite that.
Here's what I would have done. Just end House of Cards and start up a new series with her. Just do sort of the Practice becomes Boston Legal, or Cheers becomes Frasier. Just close out House of Cards and do your spin-off show with Robin Wright.
I'd rather see one with Michael Kelly, though. I think he's far more enigmatic and watchable and interesting. His character, like Samper, is so fascinating. I'd rather see a show with him in it than about her, because she's just stone cold Steve Austin. She drives me crazy. Hal, do you watch House of Cards?
I have no comment. I've never seen one episode of it.
Oh no, it's really good.
Yeah, I've heard, but now it's
ruined.
So,
did you see what's that Ridley Scott movie, All the Money in the World, that's coming out? I mean, if you see the trailers for it and you see all those shots and all those scenes with Christopher Plummer, and you're like, my goodness, did Ridley Scott, who used to, he used to do like 300 commercials in like 3 years, right? Back in the 70s. He must have cranked out that old school commercial, like, we're going to shoot these things, boom, 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 boom. Because when you see that footage, it looks like Christopher Plummer was always in the movie.
Seamless.
It's
totally seamless. Yeah, I was super impressed. Like, I can't believe they pulled that. Because really, what we're seeing in this new trailer was filmed like 7-8 days ago.
Yeah.
It was so fast. So.
And I wish he had put that kind of attention to detail in Alien Covenant. So some people out there will get that. Anyway. All right. Let's see here. George says, glad I never got into House of Cards. Because now, it's like, I feel bad for the people who really invested their time into the show. I mean, just take away everybody's personal stuff going on with it. I'm just saying, as a show, it kind of sucks to get involved in a show and then this happened and you're just like, oh, you kind of left feeling like Agent Cooper staring in a mirror with Bob on the other side,
Yeah, and you know what? It still is. It's a brilliant show. Like, it's well acted. The writing is incredible. The storyline, most of the storylines are interesting. Some of it gets off course and stuff in certain spots, but overall, I mean, it's very involved. You really have to pay attention. They jump all over the place with their politic information, which, I mean, I'm completely clueless to stuff like that. So, but I mean, it was great. But I mean, that's kind of the question in everybody's mind right now, is like, what do you support in the wake of things like this? Like, I will admit right now, Kevin Spacey is one of my favorite actors in the entire world. Like, it's a running joke that everybody knows how much I love Kevin Spacey. And I haven't actually talked about this at all, but now it's like, I didn't know he was a creep. I didn't know he did all this stuff, but I love his work. I love what he does. He's so incredible at his craft. But am I allowed to like him anymore? Am I allowed to support his films? Should I throw away all my Blu-rays and DVDs of all of his movies? I don't know what to do. I'm not going to post pictures of him on my Facebook or anything, obviously, anymore, but it's a weird time to be entertainment junkies, because I don't know. I don't know what to do with myself. So if anyone has any suggestions,
Well, this goes back. I mean, Charlie Chaplin, Roman Polanski,
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen. It's like, what do you do? I mean, because you can respect the artist, but then, or you don't respect the artist, but can you still respect the work? And I guess my argument is, yes, there are obviously these people have done really horrible criminal things. However, I'm not saying everybody is guilty of this, but I just want to say that, like, if you poke into everybody's life enough, you're going to find something that's going to repulse you about something they did or whatever, or didn't do, or I don't know what,
And then how far are we supposed to take it? Can we not ever watch a Miramax or Harvey Weinstein picture just because his name's on it? It's like Better Things was an FX series produced and written by Louis C.K., and it's like they aired the final episodes after his thing came out. They had like 2 episodes to go, but they took his production credit off the end. It still said written by and produced by, but then his little Pig Newton, his production company, they hacked that off at the end.
Well, that's why I'm so happy that
weird.
like I think Quentin Tarantino is doing this now. I think mostly as a PR move, but Kevin Smith is definitely doing this. Where Kevin Smith came out and said that any money he makes from any film he made with Miramax is being donated to women's groups and that type of thing.
Yeah,
see, I respect that a lot because they've been collecting that Miramax checks for years, But that's I think that's good. I mean, but then again, what are they also supposed to do as well? Because they're not making any more movies for Miramax. Miramax doesn't exist anymore, and the Weinstein Company was going down in flames for years.
Hey, so since you mentioned QT, what do you think about him doing a Manson film?
Oh, okay. Well,
and then his 10th film might be Star Trek.
Yeah, but he's not writing that Star Trek movie, which is really weird.
Directing it though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
But here's a funny thing. So there was an article that came out. We'll get back to Twin Peaks in a second.
No,
but there was
way off.
There was an article that came out that said that Quentin Tarantino is making this movie. It may or may not dabble within the Manson Sharon Tate mythology, but that he's going to release it on the 50th anniversary of the murders.
Yes.
So I tweeted it out, the article, and I just said at the top, "Stay classy, QT," and that was it. Twitter then recognized that as one of the 20 best tweets about Quentin Tarantino in regards to this subject and pinned it to their wall as their entertainment wall.
Oh my gosh.
This is the second time this has ever happened to me. And then that tweet got liked so many times and retweeted so many times. And I was just having fun with, something, but like Twitter for, whatever that 24 hours recognized Obnoxious and Anonymous as an official entertainment website.
Awesome.
So
with 2 words, man.
Stay classy. So anyway. Okay. Let's get into a little bit of controversy here. And that is, okay, let's start what happened the other day. There was a magazine called Sight and Sound. And they picked Twin Peaks: The Return, as we used to call it, as the number 2 movie of the year. When they did their 10 best list of movies of the year, they put it as number 2. Number 1 was Get Out. But number 2, best movie of the year, Twin Peaks. I'm going to totally mess up this name, even though I'm partly French. Cahiers du Cinema nominated Twin Peaks: The Return as the best movie of the year.
So then this starts the controversy. Is it TV or is it a movie?
Right. Now, this caught the attention of a guy named Matt Zoller Zeitz, who runs RogerEbert.com, because people started tweeting at him saying that his top 10 list didn't really count because Twin Peaks: The Return wasn't on it. and he was a big fan of this latest season. So he went on Twitter rant, and I just want to read some of it to you. Okay, here we go. I gotta close stuff out. Okay, he begins it by saying, "Believe me, I'm aware that David Lynch said he's making an 18-hour movie, but I got news for folks who don't write about TV regularly. Every single person of any ambition who's ever worked in series TV says they're making a long movie or a bunch of little movies." I understand that.
True, and it's never been screened theatrically in its entirety, so
you can't. And
right.
the other thing is, if you I understand they made it as one long piece of of a thing.
He shot it as if shooting an 18-hour movie, but it was the way it was distributed was as a TV show with beginning and end credits and in segments and a 2-hour premiere and a 2-hour finale.
Right, exactly. And if it would have been bold if there had been no end credits until the end.
Sure, that would be great.
Then I would have said, okay, it was a movie cut up into
right.
hours.
If you had the opening title on episode 1 and then no credits or opening titles until the end credits at 18, then it would have been one long movie.
True, because then you could throw that on your timeline and cut it together as one long ass movie.
Yes.
Okay, so he continues. What Lynch and Frost made owes a lot to cinema, a lot, but it owes just as much to TV, which is where the original Twin Peaks appeared and where Mulholland Drive, which started out as a TV pilot, was supposed to appear. Makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. He says, I get that David Lynch is a god to y'all. Oh, God. Here we go. He is to me, too, but he's also more than 70 years old, and I still think some part of him feels that TV is a step down, no matter how much success he's had in it, and despite all he's done to expand its language. Do you think that's true before we go on? Do you think David Lynch looks at television as like, it's still a poor man's medium?
From what he said, he's saying the art house is dead and television is the new art house, and he seems to be gravitating more and more to that. Its ability to tell continuing stories. That's what I hear in his quotes.
Well, he's been saying that continuing stories thing since the first season.
Right, but then lately he's been saying the art house is dead and TV's where it's at and all that stuff.
And remember, 17 years ago he said Twin Peaks was dead. So I mean, the man can change his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and he's had really terrible luck with traditional cinema too, and TV has. I mean, he was very successful with TV.
Right.
When Twin Peaks first aired and stuff. I mean, Hotel Room and stuff. Obviously, that did nothing, but Twin Peaks alone, it did very well. So, and his movies, especially the last few that have been out in the theater, like they didn't do as well. So, I don't see him saying anything bad about TV because that's been the hand that fed him kind of thing.
Right. And he gets accused of his art being pretentious or self-absorbed, in his abstractions and stuff like that. But I don't see him ever as coming off as snobbish to TV. I mean, I think he, as an artist, he's happy to be funded, especially an independent guy that's outside of the system like that. He's appreciative of his patrons.
And see, here's the thing. Some people are asking, like, well, why bring up his age at all?
Right.
Well, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but I think the reason why he's saying that he's old school in terms of like these guys were brought up to be cinema directors,
right?
And in the 80s and the 70s, if you did TV, you maybe started out on TV like Robert Altman and then graduate to movies, but you never went back to TV.
Hell, but he's a huge fan of Hitchcock. Hitchcock did TV in the 50s.
And in fact, he shot Psycho with the TV crew. That's exactly right. Because Psycho, believe it or not, the first time they screened it, not for an audience, the first time they watched the rough cut of Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock said, well, we could cut it into 2 parts and put it on Alfred Hitchcock Presents, right?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
They were going to cut it into 2 hours and put it into on TV.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, let's continue on. He says, I've been doing this long enough to see generations of film critics try to redefine great TV as cinema. And it always feels like a form of condescension. What is it? What's that word? Condescension. And perhaps I was going to say condensation. Condescension, and perhaps self-loathing. As Mark Harris says, they feel they need to give TV a promotion in order to love it. You know what though? If it was 1985, I might say maybe. But we have been living in probably the second golden age of TV since the 50s.
Right. Yeah, it rings more true of season one that the cinema director was coming to TV to change it. Now it's like everyone that has any talent is drawn to TV because that's where the action is. And
in fact, more actors listen, when we were growing up back in the day, you never saw movie stars on TV. Okay. Nope. If they did a commercial, it was over in Japan only, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's interchangeable TV, movies. In fact, you get more recognized on TV than you do as a movie star now, pretty much. And I would even argue that the movie star is almost dead because a movie star does not guarantee an opening weekend anymore.
That's right. The rock star's dead. Times have changed, you know. Those old tropes don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, video killed the radio star, right?
True.
First video ever on MTV. Look, when you watch things like Buffy, Alias, Lost, Fargo, Breaking Bad, all that stuff, Sopranos, you go on and on. You're looking at genuine artists creating long-form storytelling. I've always looked at seasons of TV now as sort of like the second book, the third book in a series, and that each episode is a chapter.
Yes.
So in a way, when people say, "Oh, Twin Peaks, was shot as a movie," so it's a movie. It's not a TV show. It's a movie. Look, everyone's right and everyone's wrong. Basically, I mean, it's both. And my argument is, why do we have to define it? Why can't we just enjoy it?
Right.
I would have loved Twin Peaks if they had released it in 10-minute segments on YouTube. So, I don't really care.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, that would take so long.
I don't care how I get it anymore. I want to just be able to get the information.
But it's not a film. We didn't pay to go and sit in a theater to watch it. We didn't have hot popcorn in our lap.
I paid for Showtime.
Well, obviously so did I. I paid for all that stuff too, but movies are things that you go outside your house to see.
Not anymore.
In large buildings.
But it was shot as a film. So it was shot in the style that film is shot in.
It wasn't really.
It wasn't shot episode by episode. It was shot all out of sequence. And
True. But I would even argue though that they didn't even know. They didn't even know the order of the dang thing when they got into post-production.
But they had the script.
They didn't follow it, apparently, because Dwayne Dunham apparently set the whole thing up, and then David Lynch went in there and started mucking with everything. So
but it still wasn't done. There wasn't one completed episode and then move on to episode 2. And it's usually like 1 or 2 episodes are in some various stage of production, but not all 18 at once.
Right.
Well, and the things that have come out over the last couple of days, they said that when Mr. C appears to Andy in the parking lot of the sheriff's station, that was Kyle's first day on set.
Well, that makes sense. You know why it makes sense? I think we talked about this.
Well, yeah, because his makeup was horrible.
His makeup's wrong.
And they hadn't figured him out yet.
And they made
him all leathery.
and they put that what Annie calls the heart of the ocean in his hair.
He has that throughout the whole thing.
Oh, he does?
Yes, he has the little jewel in the back of his head the entire show.
Oh, that's how good Showtime streaming service was. I guess I never noticed it.
Yeah, no, I noticed it right away because it looks like a little Diamond Flower or whatever. And they were saying that, the Mitchum brothers and Cooper or Dougie in the restaurant after they got the gym set and stuff when they're having the champagne, the cherry pie scene, that was Mitchum's first scene that they shot.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we're going to get all to that in shortly.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And no, it's okay. No problem. Okay. So
you're out of sequence, Mandy.
I don't have an agenda.
All right. The next one is Twin Peaks: The Return is my #1 TV series of the year. Everything is distant second, but it is not a movie. And saying it's a movie, whether your name is David Lynch or Baba Booey, doesn't turn it into a movie.
As a Howard Stern fan too.
And why do you need it to be a movie? I get that. Then he goes, there's a lot of boundary blurring happening right now. I know that. I've written a lot about it, but that's not what most of this is. It's really a movie sentiment is about. So let's not kid ourselves. This is just the form of snobbery left over from 20 or 30 years ago. You think that's true?
He's got a point. He just makes it very heavy-handedly. And I don't necessarily agree with how heavy-handed he's making that point, but he does have a point.
Okay. Then it says, the power of episode 8 comes from the filmmaking, but also from the break in continuity it represents from the rest of this great series. And the entire series draws on our familiarity with the original, which for all of its radical qualities was traditionally structured. Then he goes on to say, the power of the last 2 episodes likewise derives from the accumulated impact of 3 seasons, plus a theatrically released feature film that would make even less sense as a story than it already does if you weren't familiar with the original show. Stop saying that Twin Peaks: The Return doesn't have a story. It does. It might not have a plot in the way that most films, TV shows, and novels do, but it has a story expressed musically, visually, through repetitions and ellipses. There is really no convincing rationale for claiming that Twin Peaks is really a movie. It's one of the greatest TV shows I've ever had the pleasure to watch. It is a TV series in far, 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 far more ways than it can plausibly be described as a long movie. We're heading into a big blur with all these streaming platforms financing films as well as TV shows, and people refusing to leave their homes to see anything that shows in a regular theater unless it involves superheroes or Star Wars.
That point is well made.
Yeah.
It's like I do think that he's making good points, but it's Twitter rants are not a good thing. You need to stop yourself after the first one. just write it up as a nice essay and put it on your RogerEbert.com.
And I really think that all started with Lynch just saying this is an 18-hour movie, but I really think that was more of the way it was produced and shot all at once. It had nothing to do with the format one way or the other.
Are you suggesting that Lynch said something and then let the rest of us interpret how he meant it? That wouldn't be like Lynch at all.
Not at all.
Listen, it was shot as a movie. Well, not as a movie, but it was shot like a movie, like you said, out of sequence and that type of thing. But it was edited,
presented
as a TV series.
Yes, absolutely.
There,
we've done it. We've defined it. End of argument.
Yeah, I mean, almost every episode ended with a concert.
Yeah. So it's one and the same.
Yeah, especially when the chromatics come back the second time, and they haven't changed their clothes.
Will you ever get over that?
No, I think it would. That to me was a big mistake, and even the other, the was it? I can't even never say that name. Au revoir Simone. Maybe that's how I say it.
Au revoir.
Yeah, au revoir Simone.
Au revoir.
I love both their songs.
Maybe it was just a second set, Cameron. They wouldn't have changed clothes necessarily if they just did a second set.
It's in another episode.
Well, it could have been that same night.
Oh my God. Like I remember when the shows were airing and people said, Cameron, wouldn't it be great if that was Mr. C's foot going in the puddle and he was walking into the Roadhouse, and we had realized that all these concerts were like the same night and he came in, there was like just, he wrecked all havoc in there. Like that would have been cool, but that's not what we got. We got just kind of these concert moments, and in a way, because some of them had 2 performances, most of them had 1, so it kind of played like almost like favoritism when you doubled the chromatics and you doubled Simone.
And you truncated Julie Cruz.
Oh no!
Let's not start that controversy again.
No.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Sabrina swears that they're everybody is on happy now. Everyone's friends.
Yes.
You know what would have been great is if they maybe reinstated her like full performance in 17, since there's no time constraints on.
But see, that's why they should have had the bonus disc Blu-ray of the Roadhouse concert in its entirety. I still think that was a missed opportunity. That whole day of shooting, that one day of shooting with all the bands, should have just been released as the Roadhouse concert.
Well, yeah, that's what special features are all about, right?
Yeah.
It's neat little things like that, and that would have been great. And I mean, I wish they had the option to just skip them all together from the episodes, and then if I want to see them, then I can just watch the concert.
Yeah, exactly, because they're doing that with parts 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? So you can put them seamlessly.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that because they didn't do that up here. Like I didn't get to see 1 and 2 jointly. Like they were all 4 episodes were completely separate episodes with the Roadhouse with the credits at the end and the opening titles and stuff. So I'm looking forward to watching those as 2 little movies.
Well, let me tell you something. I haven't seen 3 and 4 cut together because
I haven't either, yeah.
Because I had the Showtime thing that night.
Yeah.
But 1 and 2, in my opinion, if they had just given it to us as just, episode 1, episode 2, okay, fine. But to me, those 2 episodes need to be seen together only.
Yeah.
With no interruption.
Right.
Because that's how it was.
Yeah, because I remember how jarring it was because I watched it obviously when it aired the first night, 1 and 2 together, and then I rewatched it separately. And man, when they hit the end of part 1 and they go into the fireman thing, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's
jarring.
So
yeah.
And it was designed to be a 2-hour thing. That's what they showed at the Cannes Film Festival. That's what they showed on Showtime. So in a way, you haven't even seen the proper way of watching 1 and 2 together. And the credits are in a different place at the end. I mean, it's still during the concert, but they hit at another moment in the song, which is better placed than it is on the individual episode of part 2, because they had to do the credits for 1 and 2.
Right. They were longer. Yeah.
Oh.
They were longer. And so Lynch found the perfect place to insert the starring Kyle MacLachlan credit. Whereas when you watch it isolated, it's still okay, but it's not as good as it was when it was jointly together. But I haven't seen 3 and 4 together. Apparently, the next week they bundle those 2 together. And I you know what? If one thing I got to say about the Blu-ray, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that they, give people the choice of however they want to experience it.
What was at the end of 3 when it's an individual episode though? Was it a Roadhouse concert?
It was.
What are we missing?
It was. You're not missing anything.
I mean, if you go seamless, what are we missing at the end of 3?
Nothing. It goes from the Roadhouse performance into the next episode. Apparently, there's just no credits.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's cool. I was looking at the bonus features. It has all that stuff. Those Showtime ads. That we saw, like the phenomenon and that type of stuff. But they don't have the one I really want, which is it was like a 1-minute thing or a couple-minute thing where like the cast talked about the show about coming back. And it wasn't.
They don't have that little feature.
No, they have the 3 that they released afterwards, but not that introductory one where Kyle's just like, it's just been fantastic coming back. They don't have that one on there, as far as I'm aware. I looked at the bonus features.
That doesn't make any sense because that's the only thing we got for so long, and then we got these little commercials that had nothing. And
well, if someone wants to in the chat clarify if it's on there or not.
Which one are you talking about? The one where Michael Horse is saying it's
no,
yeah, the Michael Horse. And
no.
The thing.
I don't think that one's on there either. I'm not positive about that. But the one I'm talking about is where you get Christabel, Amy Shields, Kyle, Miguel Ferrer, where they're just
right.
like,
There were two of those.
and Miguel's like, you know, big things happen on this show. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that one's on there.
Okay, because the very, very first
That was
we
my
ever
favorite one.
got,
That was my favorite one.
yeah,
The
that
one
one
I'm
was
talking
good.
I still like Gordon eating the donut, man. I love that one. That was my favorite.
But you know, what was weird was that it ended up being a part in the show.
Yeah, but it was like, but this was just the isolated shot. It was a lot longer of him just eating that donut, man. I just thought that was a perfect, like, you know, teaser.
You know what I think? Yeah, I think it was it probably wasn't even meant to be a teaser. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like to me like they probably had 3 cameras on that scene.
Yeah.
And that Lynch saw that footage of that one camera and said, let's use that as a teaser.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he was like, okay, teaser, me eating a donut.
No, I don't think he had it planned out. I think, like you said, when they were editing it, he just saw that footage isolated and went, that's hilarious, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Nobody has responded yet about that. So hopefully, you know why people haven't responded? Because no one has the Blu-ray set.
Because nobody has it.
Mark asked, did they ever actually broadcast 3 and 4 together? Apparently, yes, the second week, which I didn't watch. Why should I watch it?
I didn't either. I watched 1 and 2 as it aired, and then the next night I watched 3 and 4 because that was available, you know, right away. But and then I didn't. Then I skipped the next week.
Yeah, I was like, well, I've already seen them. I didn't realize they were going to connect them like they did.
Either.
And even if they had, I honestly probably wouldn't have watched it either.
Right.
Because I don't know. I just been like, well, I already saw it. So
yeah, I want new stuff. Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, well, you know, I mean, come on. I saw it like parts 1 through 4, probably about 20 times that first week. I was kind of over part 3 and 4 by the time I got to the second weekend.
You were obsessed with Twin Peaks, Cameron? I would have never guessed.
Well, I had to do thoughts of the day. I had to do the watch alongs. You know, so it added up. It was like 15 podcasts that 1 week. I mean, it was insane. Yeah. So, and that's when Mandy came to us. I think you showed up for what was it? Was it 4? Was 4 the first watch along you did, or was it? I think it was 4.
I thought it was 5.
Was
but
it 5?
I don't remember.
There
was a few in. No, you know what? It was 6.
It was 6?
It was Don't Die.
Okay.
I think that's 6, right? I don't have the Blu-ray to look at.
I gotta tell you. I mean, I don't own it yet, so give me a few years and it'll be different. But right now, the moment he comes out as Dougie to the moment he comes back as Cooper, I can't tell you what is what episode. Once he hits Dougie, it all kind of flatlines to me as to like everything just blending together, because I know how he gets to be Dougie. I know how he gets out. So I know those 5 episodes, whatever it is, you know? But if you start talking to me about 7, 9, and 10, I'll remember scenes, but I won't be able to tell you which episode it was in.
There's certain things that, like 5 is the Lorraine episode. I don't know why I remember that, but that's when we're introduced to Lorraine. Because, well, you know what? I don't even remember anymore. I haven't watched those ones for months now. And I was doubling up. Like, I was watching the episodes probably like 3-4 times in a week just to keep myself refreshed. And because they were so intense and so all over the place that you needed that extra time with them. But I'll get there.
No, it's interesting because, you know, we all know sort of 1 and 2 and Fire Walk with Me inside and out, but I don't have that feeling with this one yet. I haven't sat with it long enough to feel like I know it. And then with Mark Frost's books and stuff, it's like I'm not retaining it, you know, to the point where I feel like I know it inside and out yet. And it's kind of sad because I always felt like, I have Twin Peaks, you know, I know that show so well, and now I'm like, I'm kind of lost again, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, we had 25 years to ingrain that into our system, right? Yeah. So again, like by next year, we'll be able to be like, remember that time in part 6 when this happened and this happened? You're like, yeah, you know, it'll come. There are certain ones like 14. I will always, that one, I can basically play the whole thing in my head. I think it's 14. Shoot, I shouldn't have said that. But the one where Cameron spoiled everything for me and sent me pictures all day, that one I remember perfectly because I had heightened emotions about it. Um, and, and yeah, like I remember Andy and I remember Naito and the lunch boxes and the roast beef sandwiches and all that kind of stuff. Like, I won't forget that because I had time to study that throughout the day.
I remember that episode too because I thought everything was building to like an epic climax, and that's not exactly what happened. So,
well, it was epic.
It was epic, but I thought Andy was going to play like a bigger role.
You know, that just would have been. It was such a shame to build him up like that and to make him so important all of a sudden. At least like remove the pillow from his belly. Like I still can't. The pillow drives me crazy. But for him to be, and you know, when Mr. C sees him in the parking lot and he's acting all Andy-ish and he's like, Agent Cooper, and he's so excited. Like that was perfect Andy. But when he came back inside, he should have switched like a hawk, like, and turned into like Miguel all of a sudden, or how Albert would be, like, you know, all business. 1, 2, 3, 4, line it up, do this. Lucy, you're there. Hawk, you're here. But it was just kind of it was not that. I was disappointed. You know what I'm saying? It was weird that they seemed like they were going to go somewhere really cool with him, and then they didn't.
Yeah, after his experience in the White Lodge or wherever that was, you know, he came back. It seemed to be a changed man, and then they didn't follow up on that.
That's my thing, though. You know, George is saying he did change, though. Again, you see what you want to see. I mean, you could say, oh, well, he was pretending to be the Andy of old, you know, in the parking lot. Well, that's you injecting your thoughts into it, and it does work. But there's no indication. There's no real indication that is what's really happening. You know, there's no like moment of like Andy pulling the sheriff aside and having a meeting with Hawk and the sheriff saying, I've had a vision, you know, this is what I saw. What are we going to do? And then ending an episode on that or something like that. And then we know when we come back, they've formulated a plan. We may not know what that plan is, but at least we knew a plan was created. And that's not what happened either. So, because the sheriff wouldn't be sitting there at the desk with his hat going boop like that, you know. Just want to say, Mark is since you decided to throw me under the bus, Mark has said, thanks, Cameron, for ruining everything for Mandy. I just want to say this straight up. Mandy is somebody who cannot wait to hear about things. And so I said, listen, here are 7 or 8 characters. Tell me which one you want me to tell you about, and that will be it. I let it be her choice. She picked Andy, thinking that was going to be the safest one to choose. And then I kind of mentioned about his little trip to wherever it was, the White Lodge, or if that's what it is. And she was like, "Shut up! Shut up!"
Yeah, it was horrible because he's like, Andy, really? You picked Andy? Okay, here we go. And then he sends me a picture of Andy in the White Lodge, and I'm like, oh my gosh! I'm like, stop!
Yeah, cease and desist.
Picture after, and he sent me like 15 pictures, and he's like, Sarah Palmer eats some guy's face, and I'm like, what? It was.
Well, that's because you asked. You said, "Tell me more now," and I said, Sarah Palmer eats a trucker, and you were like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit on you, Mandy. You did ask for him to tell you things.
Because
if Cameron would have approached me like that, I would have said, "I want to know nothing."
And I would have told him nothing. But you
and that's why he messaged me and not you, because he knew that I would take the bait. It's terrible.
Super fun.
Everything's good, Mark. Everything's good.
Hey, so did you see that article where the guy is saying it was about Twin Peaks and the there was something about the nostalgia, about how some of the things that Lynch was saying, like the very act of bringing back the show makes the show go away because of the way it kind of, you know, as soon as Cooper gets injected into the show itself, then all the timeline all messes everything up. So the original show like kind of doesn't exist. And he was saying that was his commentary on like, you want to bring this thing back, you can't go back, and nostalgia doesn't work. And so the very act of willing it back into existence ruins it.
But that wasn't an article. That was a video. The whole thing about.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I thought it was a really interesting video.
I did too.
Although I will maintain that you can. It's cinema. It's long form storytelling.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want. People say, "Oh, it's lightning in a bottle. You can't recreate nostalgia." Yeah, you can. Did you not see The Force Awakens?
True.
You can do it if you want to do it. He just chose not to do it. That's fine. Right. I'm just saying that you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have easily just had Cooper walk in the Double R diner and be flirting with Shelley behind the counter. You know what I mean? Like, he could have done it.
Just to go in a different
and we
direction.
still would have gone insane.
And you know what's really funny about David Lynch, and especially David Lynch fans? If you, no matter what he did, it would have been the perfect choice. Yes. There's no other way. Lynch found the way. Is whatever he does is perfect. It's wonderful. I will say this. Every single moment in this new series, I think, is very well written, very well acted, very well directed. I think it all works. What I don't think works is when you put it all together, you can kind of see like, oh, maybe this scene maybe shouldn't have been here. Maybe, like if it was an actual movie, there's a lot of filler in there that you would have snipped away to make it a tighter cut. Doesn't mean it was bad. Just saying that, Lynch shot a bunch of stuff for Blue Velvet and Fire Walk With Me and Wild at Heart and Lost Highway and all these other movies. He shot another hour and a half for The Elephant Man that we've never seen. I'm sure those were great scenes too. But the movie works better as, a 2-hour thing. But he didn't have that option. He had to fill up 18 hours. So pretty much almost everything got put in, except for a few things, I'm sure. But, it had to be padded out.
But he didn't have to fill up 18 hours. It just became that, right? I mean, they didn't buy 18 hours.
No, but Sabrina did say that Sherilyn Fenn made an educated guess by saying they're going from 9 to 18.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that she threw that out there, that we were going from 9 to 18. And they just
Sherilyn Fenn is the one that threw that out there?
Yeah, she originally announced it and said it was going to be 18. But at that point, according to Sabrina, they didn't know it was 18. It could have been anywhere from 12 to 18.
But isn't it just a little convenient that it ended up being 18?
Yeah.
That's weird. I never heard that.
But she could have done an educated guess, like she said, because originally it was 9, and she could have just said, well, it's probably going to double or something.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like this is very much like Lynch with Eraserhead with the script, because he went into the AFI to make it, and he submitted his script, and it was 21 pages.
Right.
And they said, well, this is going to be a 21-minute movie. And he said, no, I think it's going to be a little longer than that. And they said, okay, it's going to be a 42-minute movie. And he was like, sure. Okay. And it ended up being, 90 minutes. Actually, It was longer, but he cut stuff out. But the thing is that you can see, and this is not a bad thing, but you can see that some of these scenes, because he knew he had 18 hours, he let the pace slow. He took his time with some of it, which is great. But would this thing have been an insane, crazy, mad trip if it had been all condensed into 9? Yes. I don't think it's doable as a 9 episodes. I think this thing, if you really wanted to make it tight, 13. You could have condensed it down to 13.
Yeah.
You would have lost a lot of great stuff, but 13 would have been great. You could not have done this in 9 episodes. That would have been speeding way too fast. Not with the speed they wanted to do Dougie. Mm-hmm. You can't slow it down and be done at 9.
No. I've always said, and people have hated me for it, but I've always said there's at least 4 hours that are there that could go. And that doesn't mean those are bad scenes.
No.
Absolutely not. None of it is bad.
If you would have lost all the random people in the Roadhouse, would we have lost anything thematically necessarily? I don't think so.
Oh, you're gonna get 30 people in the chat telling you you're wrong.
Right. Well, I know,
every
because that,
second counts.
I mean, I get that. It's showing that the whatever, the Twin Peaks is now this, you know, it's devolved or whatever.
Let me just throw this out there. I think this is gonna be a weird comparison, but just let me explain it. David Lynch scenes in this return reminds me a lot about Woody Allen's filmography. Okay, like any movie you don't like that Woody Allen's made, someone else will say that's my favorite one.
Right.
And it's the same thing with this series. You can sit there, I can tell you a scene or two that I go, that really wasn't needed in terms of overall pacing, but somebody else will come at me and say, well, that was my favorite scene of the whole episode. So
yeah,
if anybody says that sweeping scene is so brilliant and it's so masterful.
Oh, it's funny. Come on, it's funny.
It is funny, but
so is Wally. I mean, I don't. The Wally Brando detractors bum me out because that's such a great scene, man.
Okay, so you would take out the sweeping moment. That would be one of the ones I leave in.
Yeah,
because it's so funny.
Yeah,
I didn't say I would take it out.
Okay.
I just said it's.
Well, let's go around real quick. What one scene would you take out?
Yeah, what's the superfluous moment that you can eliminate?
And just know that someone in the chat is going to tell you that that's their favorite moment. So
it would be the second Au revoir Simone performance.
Well, yeah, I mean,
not counting a Roadhouse or Roadhouse.
Okay, not counting the Roadhouse. That's fair.
Oh. Or the Roadhouse vignettes, the little scenes.
Yeah, everything.
No, you can count. You can count the vignettes and you can't count those. Why not? Not the musical performances, but the people in the booth.
Well, then I would just say all of them.
That's
Absolutely.
how I would. That's the main thing I would lose too.
Yeah.
Next to all of them, I would say that maybe we didn't need to know about all the little intricate details of the Las Vegas Police Department. Maybe we need to meet so many people.
Oh, see, I really like that. One scene. You know what? Let me just tell you. One scene. I don't know why I'm pointing my finger at you. One scene that I really there's one scene that drives me crazy. Is I think it's in 4, where they're talking about the chocolate bunnies and Lucy having gas. That scene, to me, was like 27 minutes long. That's how it felt to me. That's one that I have to fast forward every time because it's so I just find it ridiculous.
Okay. It's not a scene I would take out, but it's a scene that I would completely cut in half.
Short, yeah.
Go ahead, people. Okay. Just hate on me. I don't care. That first Charlie scene. Charlie scene. 11 minutes. No.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't.
11 minutes.
I didn't have the problem you had with that. I remember us talking about that.
It is so badly written, so badly staged, with just those 2 shots back and forth for 11 minutes. I don't know who these people are. I don't care. I don't know what they're talking about.
But that's what made it intriguing on some level.
No, it made it like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was such a shock to the system that it came out of nowhere. Again, like we've been waiting for this the whole time, or wondering about this the whole time. Then boom, like quick cut, there's Audrey, and it's like,
well, that didn't bother me though. Yeah, what bothered me was it was badly written, and Sherilyn Fenn looked really uncomfortable saying all those cuss words, and it didn't even look like she embraced saying that stuff. No. So it just seemed awkward and weird, and it didn't even look like they were in the same scene together. But I thought like their next scenes together, like in other episodes, I thought those worked better. And I think the last scene in the Roadhouse was great. But that first scene needs some scissors taken to it. Seriously. And I don't care about aren't you going to tell me what this is about, Charlie? Or, who was on the phone? Or that doesn't bother me. It was the fact that it was 11 minutes long. But then
what about Lynch with the girl and Albert?
Oh, I thought that was terrible.
You thought that was terrible? See, I like that.
Oh my gosh.
Is it funny? Sure. But you know what weirded me out about it?
It was funny for a minute.
Yeah. Okay. when I say it was terrible, it felt very forced. Right? It felt a little forced. Yeah. And what really weirded me out is that she looked a lot like Isabella Rossellini. Yeah. And that really creeped me out.
Yeah, I could lose some of that scene if I had to make cuts. So that one could.
And again, like maybe if it, I don't know, not that everything in Lynch's stuff has to add up, but you know, a lot of people online were saying after the episode, oh, like that was like Lil. It was like code. No, it wasn't.
No.
It was just
Lynch trying to be comedic. That's all.
It was Lynch trying to do something from on the air. Okay. All right. I know there was a reason for this. I know there was a reason for this scene. And I know people really love the scene. And I'm not saying it's a bad scene, but it's a scene when I first saw it, I was like, what was this? The scene where Candy knocks Nepper in the head with the remote.
Yeah, I can pass on that.
Oh my gosh, I love that scene when she's trying to hit the fly.
No.
I love that.
No,
that is
again,
Lynch comedy.
It's funny. It works. It totally works. I'm not saying anything wrong with it. What I'm saying though is that
it's too long.
Well, that and also you know why he cut some of the stuff out of Fire Walk with Me, because it didn't fit the tone. And at that point the show was still moving towards this dark pacing, and all of a sudden it became On the Air for a second. like all of a sudden it was Betty from On the Air, and I was like, what is going on here? Because there was, when you watch Blue Velvet, when you watch Wild at Heart, when you watch any of those other things, there's a tonal balance. And I thought that while the scene itself worked, I felt that, again, in retrospect, it doesn't bother me, but at the time it felt like we swung way far to the other pendulum. You know what else I don't like that everybody else seems to like, but I can't stand, is that that one FBI agent that's always like screaming at the guy, whatever he's screaming, Wilson.
Oh, Jay Ferguson.
I kind of like that.
It's okay, but
I'd lose the fly swatter scene before I'd lose that guy.
It's a little indulgent, just having the guy just always scream. I mean, it's funny as it goes on, but that first time you see him in the office and he's screaming at the guy, I was just like, whoa, okay. Like that's a bold choice.
That's the bad boss, man. It's like I felt for the guy. It's like you've all had bosses that you hate.
Oh yeah. George, thank you. A lot of people in the chat are saying, get rid of Freddie. Can't stand.
I don't like that. I mean, Freddie was okay. I kind of liked his thing, and if he had some sort of purpose, but he had the ultimate purpose. That part I don't like. I don't like the fact that he dispatched Bob with his Incredible Hulk fist. That's just no.
And we just met him 2 days before.
No.
And what about the Lynch apologists that will say, well, this is Lynch making fun of Marvel superhero movies?
Does he really put that much thought into putting secret messages into?
No, I think that he had an idea for a green glove and said, wouldn't it be cool if we just put this in here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
see, that's what the fly swatter thing is. It's like Robert Nepper got a scratch on his face, so they had to explain that. So that's why they filmed that scene. That's why I don't like that one. It's thrown in there for no reason.
And honestly, with so many characters in this show, would we have questioned a Band-Aid on his face?
No, who cares?
We wouldn't have. Now, I don't think the scene itself is bad. It's just that you can tell that some scenes are more filler than other scenes.
Yes,
that's the only thing.
But yeah, as far as overarching things, I think that's the most disappointing for me was the dispatching of Bob by Freddie.
You know what else I would get rid of? I know people are gonna say, "Oh, this was great, this is wonderful," but to me, I found it. It was okay, but I really had no interest in it. All of Steven's freak out scenes. I don't care less about him in the woods with what's her name? Gersten.
His acting and like his acting was incredible. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if he didn't exist in this show, no big deal.
Oh, come on, Mandy. Everybody loves Steven. That's what they say in the pilot.
I know.
I do like the intensity of his acting in that scene, though.
Oh, he's incredible because he's just so gross.
Again, I am not saying it's a bad performance. It's a bad thing. I'm just saying that, like, when he's against that tree with Gersten, If you don't have those subtitles going, you don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I was shocked when I did put on the subtitles. I was like, oh dear, this is
Yeah.
very vile.
Really bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. Senate Kill says Freddy is indicative of what the true problem of the return was. Not enough character development. Did you hear the I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that part of the reason why the Audrey stuff was changed was because Richard was supposed to come home and assault his mom instead of his grandmother. And
Sherilyn said no?
Yeah, Sherilyn, I guess, balked from doing that, so they changed it to the grandmother and then moved Audrey's story to another area. Would that scene have been better if he came in and was attacking Audrey in front of Johnny instead of the grandmother? Or do you think having the grandmother there, it ultimately worked better? Because my feeling, I think Sherilyn Fenn, even at this age, could kick Richard's ass. So I wouldn't have really maybe bought that he could have overpowered her.
Exactly. Like Audrey Horne would never let that happen.
I'm Audrey Horne. I get what I want. As she's got
exactly.
a vacuum cord around Battis's neck.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. She'd kill the kid.
Now that would have been great. Richard comes in and starts berating her, and she just knocks Richard into the wall. And she's like, I'm your mother, Audrey Horne. Don't mess with me. That would have been a stand ovation moment.
But it would have been super creepy to think that, Mr. C raped her and spawned the devil, and then the devil comes in and rapes her a second time. That's kind of double horror. So it might have been effective in that regard, if you want to just take it to the lowest level of horror,
Yeah.
Well, still the idea that, they presented the idea, but they never went into detail, never discussed it. I hope they don't. But that whole subplot of how Richard was conceived is truly terrible. It's a terrible. What?
I think it perfectly shows you how evil the doppelganger is.
It absolutely does. It does, but not to Audrey. That sucks.
But that's like the whole premise of Twin Peaks is this horrible tale of incest. It's like as dark as it gets. That's Twin Peaks.
It's just so sad.
I know it is, but I almost applaud it in a way, because it's like it's Frost and Lynch like treating the material seriously, saying this would be the natural ramifications of what would happen if somebody's true evil side came out and knew by hurting this woman, you're hurting an entire next generation as well. My issue is that they don't explore it.
That's it. It's like if you didn't listen to Will say that over Skype, if you went and got a drink, you have no idea what's going on. And then Mr. C is like, goodbye, my son. And you're like, what?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you're right.
That's my biggest issue with the return overall, is that even though, again, I love it, my big issue with it is because these scenes were written for actors to be filmed in isolation from amongst everybody else, nobody knew how to relate to other people.
Yeah.
So there isn't a lot of expository dialogue or people having close, intimate conversations with each other, because they didn't want the actors to know which way the story was going half the time. So they create these scenes like Becky and Steven screaming about stuff that really we don't know about, we don't care about. And they kind of play this isolated moment. And that's what a lot of the return is a bunch of isolated moments strung together.
Maybe that explains why Andy's behavior isn't consistent, because it was out of sequence and he wasn't aware that he had been to the White Room or the White Lodge.
Perhaps.
At that point.
Good point.
But also, when you're watching Lynch direct these people in doing the things that, in these little vignettes that we've seen and stuff, or that you guys haven't seen, but when you see him directing, he is literally saying, this is what's in my brain. I want you to do it. This is how I see it. This is how I want you to do it. So they're mimicking exactly what he's saying. They still have no bloody context for what they're doing, but they're doing it perfectly to please their master, their director. They're
Yes.
doing everything he wants. He's putting out the movie that he wants, but these people have no bloody clue what they're doing. Like
Right.
that I couldn't imagine how frustrating that is, but that shows how much they love and trust him, that they're like, you know what? We don't need to know. We're going to do exactly what you say, exactly how you flip your hands or anything like that. We will copy you and we'll follow you to the ends of the earth, kind of thing. So
Yeah. They make themselves a vessel for his vision.
yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, it's
Yeah.
like,
And it's probably easier on them on some level. Didn't Michael Cera think he was going to have to do 100 takes, and he did it in 2? He's like, oh, really? Wow. I memorized that monologue, and I thought I was going to have to do it a bunch of different ways, and it's fine as it is. It's kind of like, it's more in the moment. It's more like, spontaneous, and you don't have to sit there and make it a cerebral exercise.
Or they may not have the emotional toll that some actors get when they're getting into their characters. And, like, let's bring up Heath Ledger, for example, get so into their roles and things like that they, go crazy. These guys are just like, he's like, flap like a bird. Okay, I'm flapping like a bird. There's no emotional trauma to that,
It's over,
and we get beautiful art coming from that too. So,
well, even when they were shooting the Frank Booth stuff in Blue Velvet, after they ended a take, they would all be laughing.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they didn't take it to heart,
Yeah, that's one of the reasons Roger Ebert slammed it, because he'd heard those behind the scenes things, about where they were cracking up at some of these violent images and stuff. He's like, oh, they're showing this heavy stuff, but they're laughing at it. So therefore he must be
you would have to.
Bastard.
Yeah, you would have to.
Well, what are you supposed to do?
And it's like, it's not real. It's not a documentary we're filming here. It's a fictional movie. It's not really happening.
Like, can you imagine how bad Dennis Hopper would have felt if everybody was so terrified of him because of his performance, and he's all holed up in his trailer all the time, and like Isabella won't go near him because she's terrified of him? That's not David Lynch. It seems to create family and home type environments. So,
right, he likes having a happy set, not a creepy, weird set.
With his dark, twisted art.
Right.
Well, but because these actors were filmed in isolated scenes and then where they had no idea what came before, what came after. I've said it before, I said again, I'm amazed how good these actors are, considering that you know that they knew nothing about this character.
Yeah.
The scene before, the scene after, they just knew the moment, and the fact that they were able to create any type of character whatsoever speaks to obviously their talent.
Yeah.
Because that's a very, very hard thing to do, to not know what you're doing before or what you're doing after. So,
especially the new characters, like the original cast at least had some context of who they were, but the new characters, some of the things they had to do without being informed as to how it all fits into the big picture, that was difficult.
Right. All right. Let's cover this before we have a couple more topics here. BuzzFeed, of course, came up with their stunning article, 19 behind the scenes facts you probably never knew about Twin Peaks, which I read that title and I go, yeah, right. Hit me.
Right.
Tell me something I don't know, BuzzFeed.
Yeah. And it didn't.
Okay. So let's just go real quick through. Number one, first scene Kyle shot was the scene in episode 17 outside the sheriff's station. Makes sense, right? Because they hit the Snoqualmie area first.
Yeah.
So that made sense. I mean, despite makeup and hair and all that, I think that scene was incredibly intense. I was just on the edge of my seat that whole time.
Yeah.
It was, but I found it distracting a little bit too, because
when he's indoors, and
Well, no, when he's at Jack Rabbit's palace, he looks so different. It's like, oh, what happened to his makeup today? That's what I thought.
Well, it's the toll. It's the toll of the road, Mandy. All right. Number two, and McLaughlin's first day of shooting ended up being parts in the second to last episode. So they're throwing that together. The entirety of Twin Peaks was shot completely out of order. Did you not know that, Hal?
I didn't. I had no clue. No, hadn't heard that.
Wow. BuzzFeed is teaching us a lot of things tonight.
Yeah. Wow.
In real life, the building that's supposed to be the Twin Peaks Sheriff Station is actually across the street from what was the Packard sawmill in the original series. Wow, I've learned something new tonight.
Wow. And they had the aerial picture with the circles and the arrows.
Well,
and if they were actually knew what they were talking about, it's not even a street. It's literally a driveway. It's the same lot.
and obviously David Lynch himself doesn't give two craps about it because he actually showed the Packard sawmill directly across the street from the sheriff's station in the show itself.
Yeah.
Now, Lynch apologists out there will be like, well, that's him commenting on the nature of cinema and how locations are so close to each other. No, I think he just forgot. Yeah. And he turned the camera in the wrong spot.
No, the timeline is shifted because of the doppelganger. So now the architectural layout of the city is totally changed.
That's brilliant, Hal. Someone in the chat just wrote, "What the Hal?"
I've heard that before. I've heard it all. How the hell are you?
Number 5. This is something I don't know. Ooh, good job, BuzzFeed. Harry goes. Andy showed up to set on his first day with a ponytail. Well, right. that would have been shocking.
Yeah.
Andy with a ponytail.
Yeah, Andy's got to have that tuft. That's Andy.
Harry Goes also says his first scene with Mr. C took 47 takes because Goes kept having trouble with the tailgate of the car. You know what I'm really disappointed to is that you see the shot of him with the basket and the station wagon, and when I saw that in the trailer, I got super excited because I thought Andy was now working with the Meals on Wheels because that's the same car that Laura is putting the or similar looking car that he's putting the basket in Fire Walk with Me, but that didn't pay off either.
Nope.
All right, number 7. Eamon Farron was so scary as Richard Horn that a lot of the cast and crew were both horrified and impressed by his performance. Wow, I couldn't have figured that out.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say that he was almost 4th lead of this entire show. I mean, he had more screen time than Bobby and Shelley and Audrey and all that. So, yeah. I mean, it's such a good performance that it's kind of a bummer that it just ends on a rock.
Yeah.
You kind of expect him to be like zapped to the Black Lodge and then like, they gotta, maybe he's with Bob in the bubble or something at the end. I don't know. But, it's just like, you think this like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay.
Well, and 2, there's not really a build up to that either, because when they're in the truck, they're not talking. Like nothing, they're just driving in the truck. Then they pull up and then you have a 7-minute scene of him reversing the truck or turning the lights on. Oh, it's crazy. But anyway.
People are surprised that took Andy 47 takes. And a lot of people in the chat are shocked to learn that this thing was shot out of order.
I had a weird experience. I hadn't seen John Waters' movie Serial Mom before.
Oh, that's brilliant.
and I put it on. And it's like, wow, Matthew Lillard is like 20 years old.
And you know what's really funny?
That was really strange.
Is that movie came out in 93, a year before Natural Born Killers. And that last half hour in the courtroom is almost a better satire of serial killers in the media than Natural Born Killers is. Even though I love Natural Born Killers, it's more satirical.
Yeah.
With Suzanne Summers coming in and stuff, it's fantastic.
Right.
All right, number 9 or 8 was like Hal said, Michael Cera did his speech in 2 takes. You know why he did it in 2 takes? I'll tell you why. Because Lynch was like, you know what? No matter how much we try, he's never going to be able to give that deadpan of performance in multiple takes. Like, he's so deadpan. You don't know whether this is bad acting or whether this is like one of the funniest scenes you've ever seen in your life.
I think it's hilarious, man. And he's got the weird Brando.
But it walks that line where you go, what is this scene? And it's one of those scenes that, like, the more you see it, the more you like it. But the first time you see it, you're almost like in shock that this is really happening.
But I think they just did the second, because the first take was fine, and the second one was just like, let's just do a backup for the sake of doing one,
Sure. Number 9, the back of Wally's jacket actually says BRCM from Marlon Brando's Wild One.
Which is the what's that stand for again? Black.
Black Rebels Motorcycle Club.
There you go.
Number 10, the firemen actually filmed scenes inside the Red Room. And we're going to see one of those scenes being filmed in the bonus features. Yet, no deleted scenes are included on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Wonder what that was about.
That's awesome, though, having the giant show up in the Red Room. Makes sense. He showed up at the end of season 2. He was in the Red Room.
He's been in there before,
yeah.
With the waiter.
All right, let's see. 11. They actually made a blue screen mask for Cheryl Lee to help create the freaky part where she removes her face.
They show that in the Blu-ray outtakes too. They show them shooting it with the blue screen face.
All right, so here's something that none of us know, and I'm sure none of the audience knows either. Number 12. Here we go. These are 19 behind-the-scenes facts you never knew about Twin Peaks. Number 12. Lynch calls Kyle MacLachlan Kale.
I did not know that.
Shocking.
Shut the front door. What?
Literally, someone from BuzzFeed just went to Welcome to Twin Peaks and saw all the little clips and created this 19 list. That's legitimately what happened.
Oh, number 13. Did you know that he likes to call Laura Dern Tidbit?
Tidbit.
Again.
Did you know that he likes to call Machen Amick Madgekin?
See, that's not on the list because that's not in the last little bits of trailers released.
Right.
Wow. This is a shocking list.
I'm what I'd like to know is I want to know what his nickname for Cheryl Lee is.
Cheryl Lee, yeah.
Because she's like, his like top prized possession apart from Laura Dern.
Cheryl Lee is not his top prized possession. He has gone on record in interviews saying Laura Dern is the greatest actress I've ever worked with in the history of my career.
I said apart from Laura Dern.
I know, but I'm saying Cheryl Lee doesn't even never mention Cheryl Lee after Fire Walk with Me. He never mentioned her name again.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He never did. So, people in the chat are wanting me to expand a little bit about why I make fun of the gobble gobble scene in Fire Walk with Me.
Why did you make fun of that scene? Why?
I don't make fun of it. No, it's just I cite it as an example as to why perhaps Cheryl Lee did not continue a huge career in mainstream motion pictures on the big screen. Because when you put a tight close-up on her face in tears saying gobble, 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 it's even Hal's laughing.
But that wasn't there. There's something cut out of there though that ruins the context of that because she makes a comment about I'm gone like a turkey in the corn or something like that, right? Yeah.
And James says, "Oh, don't say that because a turkey is one of the dumbest animals on the planet." And then she says, "Gobble, gobble, gobble."
Right.
Listen, does the scene work? Sure. Is her acting great? Sure.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, though, is, again, I'm not talking about us as Twin Peaks David Lynch fans who get the lines that he walks. Yes. I'm talking about traditional moviegoers.
Yes.
Watching a movie, watching a scene where, I remember, while I think his characters are great and epic, I remember people coming out of Wild at Heart. Wild at Heart, one of my favorite Lynch films. People were coming out going, does Laura Dern just do nothing but cry in that movie? And if you look at it, it's almost like when you watch Stanley Kubrick's film Eyes Wide Shut and someone tells you there's a Christmas tree in every shot and you go, what? And then you go back and watch it and there's a Christmas tree in every shot of that movie. Yeah. Almost every shot of Eyes Wide Shut, there's a Christmas tree.
Why do you think that is? He just wants you to know it's Christmas time?
Yes, I don't know. But if you go back and watch things like Wild at Heart, that second half, I understand why, but that second half, Laura Dern is crying in almost every single scene. It makes sense to me. I get it. I understand why. But I'm looking at it. You have to look at it from another person's point of view who's like, doesn't she have anything to smile about? Why is she crying through this whole dang movie? But Cheryl Lee's performance in Fire Walk with Me.
You can tear apart any movie,
True, but I'm saying
why in the Fast and Furious do they do this?
Cheryl Lee's performance in Fire Walk with Me is very different, but it's the same sort of level of hysterics as Shelley Duvall in The Shining. It's just constant, fever pitched. Like you don't know, if she's gonna do this or do that. I mean, she's insane. It's so intense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Fire Walk with Me needed, just a little bit of levity to balance it out, so we didn't all just get not Black Friday. What is it? Good Friday, Laura Palmer. Let's get a little bit more Easter Sunday, Laura Palmer as well. Let's balance it out a bit, because that last week when they talk about season one, they all talk about Laura having a dark side, having a good side. We don't see any evidence of that in Fire Walk with Me. It's all dark, which is fine. They had to make it that way, I guess. But I'm just saying that maybe Gobble 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 wouldn't have stood out if it was more balanced. Because that's pretty much our second scene of her in that movie. She walks to school, she does coke in the bathroom, and then she's saying gobble gobble gobble. It's you know what I mean? It's just I think Fire Walk with Me needed to be longer. Just to balance stuff out. That's all. But I remember watching that movie with people, and they when like I take Lynch stuff very seriously, and then she did that gobble gobble, and this was 1992, so this is pre-hipster, all right, where ironic laughter is the king, and they sat there, and when that scene happened, they looked at each other and said, "This is absurd." that was their reaction. This is absurd. I was like,
yeah, the guy called his production company Absurda at one point.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for other people who watch things like Fire Walk with Me, if they even did.
But see, to me, the more absurd stuff like that was just, that was the depth of despair and stuff. I mean, if you can't feel that, I mean, Lynch makes you feel.
Yes.
To me, the absurd stuff is the guy in the bar, yeah. That's the absurdity, where it's just like out of nowhere absurdity. Where the gobble gobble thing was really just a way to convey a depth of feeling,
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying though is Fire Walk with Me, the way it was received around the world, not by fans, but by critic groups, Cannes Film Festival. Are you telling me that movie, as much as we love it, okay? Are you telling me that movie wasn't responsible for not elevating Cheryl Lee to work in more mainstream movies from then on? I would say that Elizabeth Berkley and Showgirls killed her career. And I think Fire Walk with Me killed Cheryl Lee's career because it came out at the wrong... People weren't ready for it, and people didn't care about it. And again, the majority of people who saw Fire Walk with Me back in the day, maybe not you, maybe not me, but the majority of people who went there as Twin Peaks fans went and saw it and went, "This is great." And that was the big thing, was like everybody would say to me, "I knew all this. Why do I have to sit and watch this?" Now,
see, I had either wow, I really liked that, but we were kind of scared to admit it because everybody around me hated it. The group I went with all watched Twin Peaks. I was like an evangelist. Everybody's got to see Twin Peaks. Now we're gonna go see this movie. And me and my one good friend who's still a Twin Peaks fanatic, everybody was like, "That sucked. Let's go have a drink. Let's get that bad taste out of our mouth. Other than that, that's 2 hours of my life I can't get back," or whatever. And me and my friend Dave, we hung back as the crowd was like, "Get me out of this theater." And we looked at each other and we're like, kind of whispered to each other, I liked it. Did you? I liked it too. We were embarrassed to say we liked it with our friends because they hated it so viscerally.
Everyone's saying, well, Cheryl Lee was in movies after Fire Walk with Me. Yeah, but
ones that nobody saw.
Yeah, I mean,
she was great in Backbeat. Was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
great
yeah.
in Backbeat. She's even great in. Well, she's mostly great in Vampires too. Like
right, but come on. After Fire Walk with Me, you should not be in Vampires.
I know.
Okay, Backbeat and the other movie she did, Bliss, with Craig Sheffer. If you want to see Cheryl Lee naked for longer than just the red room scene or the pink room scene, see Bliss. She's naked through the whole movie.
You can't say that anymore. You were in the post Harvey Weinstein era. You're not allowed to make comments like that.
The whole movie's about sex. I mean, that's what it's about. It's actually a better version of David Cronenberg's Crash, but it's.
Gosh.
It's Craig Sheffer and Sheryl Lee together.
They're fantastic together. They had great chemistry, but
Yeah.
nobody saw that movie because everybody was afraid of it, and it
well, it never
almost
even
got
played.
an NC-17.
It didn't even play. I mean, it went pretty much straight to video. Same thing with Mother Night and all the other stuff.
I still have never seen Mother Night.
You know, it's just, I mean, and I know it's supposed to be great, but these things did not really play outside of, you know, New York, LA critic screenings. You know, Sheryl Lee, you know, is not being tapped to be, you know, I don't know, in some major motion picture. She doesn't command that, and that's a shame because I really feel like
bloody shame,
because I really feel like she could be one of the greatest actresses. I mean, she could have had a career that was huge.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes I look at some of those missing pieces from Fire Walk with Me and I think, you know, maybe if some of those scenes had been in the movie, maybe her performance would have been more well received at the time. Maybe.
If only the scene with Cooper outside Diane's office would have been in there.
Are you kidding me?
Everybody would have loved.
Okay, right there. Listen. I'll take every Lana Milford scene over that moment. That is the worst scene in the history of Twin Peaks. In
the history of Lynch's whole works, it's probably the worst scene.
One, it's badly written.
Yeah.
Two, it's badly acted.
Yes.
It's badly staged.
Yes.
I can't believe Lynch even set up the camera for 2 hours to get that shot and then filmed a few takes of that thing.
I can't believe 25 years later, he included it as a deleted scene. You'd think he would have looked at it and went, nah, we don't need it.
I would have burned that footage.
I would have too.
It is a horrible moment.
It is.
It is truly the most, I mean, it's like, that was the moment where I realized that, you know, maybe that was
that human beings are making this instead.
No, I think maybe it was a sign of things to come. Like Lynch was saying, "I'm going to emasculate Agent Cooper right before your eyes in 2 minutes, and I'm going to do that to you through the whole next season too. I'm going to take your hero and turn him into into a vegetable for 16 episodes." So, yeah, I thought it was hilarious, but you know, a lot of people didn't. But no, I think that while Laura Palmer and Fire Walk with Me was great for Sheryl Lee to do, I think if the movie had been just a little bit tweaked here and there, I don't think it would have been as disastrous. Because if you think it was disastrous for Lynch, he went on to make other movies that played in theaters across America. Sheryl Lee went straight to video. That's the difference.
Well, yeah,
and the fact that Lynch didn't use her again until this new season, when at the time he was using her in Wild at Heart and he brought her back as Maddie Ferguson and all that stuff. It's like it almost felt like, oh, Fire Walk with Me was that movie that didn't do very well, so I'm just gonna cleanse my plate of people I worked with in that series. And he never worked with those people. He didn't work with Kyle, Dana, Cheryl, none of them until this 25 years return.
He probably felt betrayed by Kyle, though.
Oh, I bet you. Don't you want to be a fly on the wall of that conversation?
When Kyle said, "I'm not going to do it,"
or no, after when Kyle came back on his hands and knees and just said, "I'm sorry, David."
Yeah, that would have been
when Kyle realized his career was over.
That was the role of a lifetime, and he snubbed his nose at it.
Yeah, it also probably helped once he got away from the evil influence of Lara Flynn Boyle.
But I mean, think of it from Lynch's point of view. Dune bombs, and he still gives Kyle a chance in Blue Velvet, which was good for both of them. But then, then he becomes Agent Cooper, and then he's like, "Well, I need to continue the story." And Kyle's like, "Nah, I'll pass. I'd rather hang out with Lara Flynn Boyle."
But then, what does that tell you about Sheryl Lee? Then it's like, Fire Walk with Me bombs, and he never mentioned Sheryl Lee again.
Well, it could have also been that he traumatized Sheryl Lee so much by all the things that she had to do for this movie. He would keep her up for days on end. Like, he wouldn't let her sleep, apparently. I mean, these are old show notes.
Ooh, George is coming in with the kill line here. If Lynch destroyed Sheryl Lee's career with Fire Walk with Me, couldn't you say Jennifer Lynch destroyed Sherilyn Fenn's career with Boxing Helena?
No, because No, because Sherilyn Fenn got
She was already in movies prior to Twin Peaks.
She was already, but she began like a TV role after that, where she was popping up in TV series here and there.
Not for another 10 years though.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like Dawson's Creek and that kind of stuff. That was like 10 years later. When
Oh,
they all got started being hired by the WB.
I think there was
But
just
it's a good point though, George. Like that does happen. I mean, nobody wanted that movie. Everyone knew that movie was going to wreck their career, even though I think it's a stunning movie. I love Boxing Helena.
So do I.
But everybody knew, anybody attached to that movie knew that it was going to be crap and it was going to do horrible things for them. So everybody got off of it like right away.
Oh, a lot of people got off watching that movie, Mandy. Trust me.
Okay, you know what? I did not say that.
Especially during that Enigma scene.
Nope. Okay. It's not what we're talking about tonight. Anyway. You.
Oh,
Anyway.
Mark throws out, Sherilyn Fenn already did crappy softcore porn called Blue Moon Junction.
Two Moon Junction.
Yeah. But she was also in The Wraith with Charlie Sheen. That was a pretty decent movie. It's like, kind of like The Crow before The Crow. She was in Just in One of the Guys. It was, so she had been around for a while in movies. It's just that she wasn't like leading.
She never
actress.
got her break though. No.
Yeah.
And what I was saying before, just about the Sheryl Lee thing, is that Sheryl Lee could have just said, I need a very long break from you because you are in my psyche and you've destroyed part of me. So I need to. I mean, did you read that poem that she wrote to Laura? I mean, that's not just an actress that shows up and gets her paycheck and does a good job and everything and does a movie. I mean, she was completely 100% invested into this character, just like we are, and why I cry all the time about this stupid crap. But, maybe that's why she wasn't a part of the Lynch universe after that.
Well, let me throw this out. I think I said this before, but I'll say it again, and then we'll finish up the BuzzFeed thing. If they do season 4 or whatever they do next in the world of Twin Peaks, Lynch and Frost, whoever comes back to do it, they need to tailor this new season for Sheryl Lee the way they did season 3 for Kyle.
100%.
Completely. I think they need to show us and remind the audience what a talent Sheryl Lee is.
I would stand up if I wouldn't knock over my phone right now. Absolutely. If they don't do that, I'm going to be super pissed off.
I don't want to see her I don't want to
deserves
see her. I don't want to see 40 minutes of her as Carrie Page or something. I want to see, if you're going to do Carrie Page, give me an in-depth character study of Carrie Page.
Yeah.
Something. You showed me 3, maybe 4 versions of Kyle MacLachlan in season 3. I want to see some real acting, like in-depth, multiple episode arcs dedicated to Sheryl Lee in this new season.
And my biggest thing has always been with the last 2 episodes, and I'm sure some people agree with me out there, but you erased 25 years. You brought back Laura Palmer. This whole thing surrounds Laura Palmer's death. You brought her back for like 2 seconds. And while I'm thankful, and I still cry like a baby every time I see it, they didn't do anything with it.
It's a tease.
I'm holding you to that.
No. I'm saying it's a tease even in season 3, because you're like, wow, this is an epic moment. Where are we going? We have an hour left of this. Where are we going? And then within 2 seconds, she's disappeared. I wanted to see, maybe an hour of Sheryl Lee playing Laura Palmer, and maybe, do something else with it. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I wanted to see her on screen more. She was the only time she had more airtime at the front of the opening credits than she did at the in this entire season 3. So, and she shows that she can still knock it out of the park. Look at that final scene in the series.
She's incredible.
She is incredible, and I would flip over backwards twice to work with her. And anything. I mean, there's certain people you see on screen, you go, when Quentin Tarantino, when he brought back John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, and then he brought back Robert Forster and Jackie Brown, they'd always say, oh, who are you going to bring back next? And, you know, I wish I had a career like that where you could be like, you know what? I think Sheryl Lee deserves another chance. Let's write a film for her to showcase. And we're not going straight to video. We're not going straight to streaming. We're going to open this thing in 2,000 theaters across America. But you know, you got to put her in a movie that people want to see the movie. They don't necessarily want to see Sheryl Lee, but then when they get in the movie, they can't believe that this actress is as good as she is. And then you go, she was this good all the time, guys. You just didn't notice it. You took her for granted. You rejected her movie and never really hired her again. Mm-hmm. So yes, they need to just bring her back. And I love Kyle to pieces. Have him a major part of the show. But now it's time to write a thing around her.
Yeah. I
think that honestly, while I love Fire Walk with Me, and I'm glad it's getting respect finally after 25 years, I do think that David Lynch owes it to Sheryl Lee. I think he does. I really do. I think that he say, you did great work. We did great work. It wasn't appreciated. I moved on. You found it hard to move on. You had health problems. You had all this stuff. You know what? This is for you. You stuck by me for almost 30 years. And this is my way of saying, I'm here for you and I'm sorry. That's what I want to see. All right.
So Sabrina, if you're watching,
I want to see more. I want to see more Ray Wise in season 4. That's all. Sheryl Lee, great. Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, but I want to see more Ray Wise and as much Grace Zabriskie as you can put in there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, every scene that Grace Zabriskie was in was like one of the best scenes of the whole show.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't take your eyes off her. She's amazing.
Fascinating. I love her.
Even when she's watching TV, you're like, look at how she's watching TV.
she's the one I actually, when season 3 was announced, she's the one I looked forward to the most, seeing what she would do, you know, with her grief, and it didn't disappoint. I just wanted so much more because she's so fascinating to watch.
All right, I'm just gonna skip ahead because a lot of these BuzzFeed things are stupid. But
yeah,
Kyle MacLachlan actually wore fake dentures when he played the real Dougie Jones. The freaky part where Laura Palmer flies out of the Red Room was shot by Lynch himself. Well, you could tell because, you know, he can't hold the camera steady apparently because it's just shaking all over the place.
Well, Sabrina said that anything that had a shaky shot was Lynch holding the camera.
Well, you know, he's getting up there in age. You know, it's hard for him to hold the Aeroflex. I kid. I kid. Okay. Yeah, everyone's saying no more Christabel in this new series, please.
Yeah, I can do with that. We don't need to see more of Tammy. It's not necessary.
All right. MacLachlan's first day on set was September 28th, 2015. What does that have to do with anything?
Who cares? Yeah.
Which means it's been over 2 years since the magic began. What the hell?
Wow.
It's literally the stupidest thing.
That is number 19 of the things I didn't know about Twin Peaks. Believe me, I'm well aware that it took years to make this thing.
Okay, well, if that's true that Kyle didn't start till, what did they say, September 25th?
28th.
28th?
Yeah.
Because I was there, I think it was September, it was either the 16th or the 24th. So they were filming Mark Frost's scene of him going up to Harry before Kyle had even come up there yet. So that gives you perspective of different jumping around places.
I find that BuzzFeed article completely pointless.
Useless. Yeah.
And I don't mean, and let's take our fandom out of it. It's useless for new people.
Yeah. It's like that old Steve Martin routine. I get paid for doing this.
You know what? I would be one of the greatest like BuzzFeed writers of all time. I could probably crank out about 50 of those a day.
Right.
You know. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. All right, let's wrap this up. There's one other thing I just want to mention briefly. Earlier today, I mentioned that we're probably going to be doing a Fire Walk with Me watch along, which I think would be super fun. People have been asking for that for a while. So we're probably going to do that and maybe do it like one of those fundraisers where, maybe we stop the clock until the donations start pouring in, and then we resume Chet Desmond. Anyway.
I like the old Roger Ebert used to do this thing in Boulder, Colorado each year.
Oh, yeah.
They would show that. Yeah, you show film, and then anybody can go stop, and you talk about that bit, and it takes however long to get through the film.
Do you know how long that would take with the chat line? But I would be totally up for it. I would just I would have to not talk for 2 days straight beforehand, though, so that I was well rested. There's going to be a lot of stopping.
Yeah, I actually attended one of those when I was living out in Colorado. It was fantastic.
What movie was it that you saw?
It was Mulholland Drive, actually.
Oh, you were there for that one?
Yeah.
I heard that was great.
Cool.
It was fantastic. I got to actually, I forget what I said, but like I was sitting close to Roger Ebert, so I did a stop and I said something and had some comment. And it was pretty cool.
That would have
been
awesome.
It went on for like 3 days, so I was there like one of the days.
Lawrence Brano says, "When are you guys going to do the Cowboy and the Frenchman watch along?"
Great. I never watched that for years. I'd always known it existed, but just thought it was some throwaway thing. And then when I actually watched it, I thought it was hilarious, man. It was so good.
I saw that they played it at the festival in, I think it was 96 when I saw it. And we all laughed all the way through the entire thing. It was hilarious.
Great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, where we are with the campaign, if you guys are following the Queen of Hearts Indiegogo campaign, it's over 6,000 now, but it's been holding that for about a week. So we've we're at kind of a pause moment. We still have about a month left of the campaign, so there's still a lot of time. Was it 2 days ago? I dropped a promotional trailer on YouTube.
That was really nice, Cameron.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Super cool.
All right. Well, let me explain this, though. I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing touch-ups of it and exporting it and that type of thing. And so I didn't, because I was so sleepy, I just assumed all the presets were there. So when I uploaded it to YouTube, went to bed, got up, went about my day. And then someone contacted me and said, "Did you not realize that you uploaded it in 480s in standard definition video?" I was like, "What?" So I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my God," because it was supposed to be 1080.
Oops.
And I was like, "Ugh." And this thing was climbing. It was getting 500, 600, 700 views. And I was just like, "Oh, no. That's not how I wanted it to be seen, So I fixed it and deleted it off the YouTube and re-uploaded it. So right now, I don't know what the views are. It's like 300 something. But if you did watch the original video, thank you. And if you did, give it a thumbs up, please go to the new video and give it a thumbs up. Because right now it's just, obviously it's not as big as it was yesterday. But anyway, so now it's back up in 1080. So not to worry. But the response from it was really positive. I was shocked. I honestly, I thought, oh God, here comes the, this is, you're no David Lynch, what are you trying to do? But I think people understood like what I was doing with it, which is great.
Yeah, it was cool. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the actress that you have playing Annie. She kind of pulls it off. It's a kind of a hard. Heather Graham's pretty distinct. So
a lot of people are asking about Indiegogo about they don't take like prepaid cards and stuff. Well, that's true. So I have like the PayPal account. Just let me know you're sending something that way. So I don't think it's an eBay thing, and and I'll make sure I add that to the campaign as well. Let's see. Reggie says the film will be shot in 480 if the full budget is not raised. Yeah, and yeah, a lot of people very complimentary to the actress. I want to give a shout out to her. Mindy Whitfield is her name. She doesn't have a Twitter. She only has like social media kind of stuff like Facebook and things like that. But I had another actress I was talking to about doing this, and unfortunately she was really busy. But one of the cool things about her was that she lives 10 minutes from where where Glastonbury Grove is. So I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. But ended up not working out. But so another actress was referred to me, and she just had that Annie vibe, and I thought it worked out really well. And and people are, especially Annie. I've gotten a lot of really nice messages saying that the particularly the ending of it really gave them the chills.
Yeah, that was great.
Because they're not expecting that.
and the shots of the woods and the trees and your angles and stuff, all very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm just really thankful you guys are being so supportive about this, because this is a new adventure for me as well. So, but yeah, people are really gravitating to the idea of like, well, how? Because I had some people saying to me, well, okay, I know you want to make this. I totally support you making this. I know it's about Annie, but I don't really have like a way in. What are you doing? What are you telling with her? What are you doing with her? So hopefully this trailer gives you a hint of the direction I want to go in. There's a lot more to it than that. But once people started seeing kind of the direction of this thing, of where this thing is going, you could feel the excitement like building more, because now they actually had some sort of context to what I want to do. So if you like the trailer, just know that is just a taste of what is going to happen in the film, or of the tone of it, more or less. This was more of a character inner monologue trailer. So the movie's not going to look like this. This is just more of a promotional thing to kind of get people in the spirit of the whole thing. So I just want to thank you all for being so kind and supportive. But if you did watch the original trailer, please go on to the new one and just give it a thumbs up if you don't mind, if you've already given it on the original one. Because I just, it was climbing up to almost, 1,000 views when I had to delete it.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, and it had been tweeted out to so many people, and I felt so embarrassed that everybody... That was bizarre. But anyway, I felt really embarrassed that so many people were seeing it in 480. I was just like, oh no. So anyway, I bit the bullet, baby.
And if you like it, go give Cameron some bucks to help finish it. It's like, even if you can only give $5 or $10, that pushes it forward.
I got news for you. If every person who watches these podcasts threw out $20, I'd already be there.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take it honestly does not have to break the bank. It just takes a few bucks from a lot of people, and it adds up real fast. So, and I'm already a quarter of the way there, And if it doesn't hit the total, you don't get charged. I mean, it just gets all refunded back to you. So, it's really no harm. So just, throw out $1, $5, $10, whatever you can. And if you can't do it, like I said, just retweet it or share the links. Both videos are up now, my presentation video and the trailer. They're on the pages and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, it's trying everything I can, guys, to get this thing going, because I really want to make this film. I think it would be super fun. And I think people are getting pretty excited as to what it could be. So
definitely.
And so Hal and Mandy, thank you so much for throwing out the idea of you doing podcasts with people and stuff like that, because I know it's very time consuming for you guys to show up on these videos as well. So I appreciate all of you guys. Andy, it's Hal, Mandy, Annie, Emma, the vlog lady.
I want to thank Emma too for giving me a shout. That was hilarious. When she was doing the woodsman thing,
that was so cute.
That cracked me up so much.
Yeah,
she's super cool.
Yeah, vlog lady did a thing about. She wrote like a story about Annie herself, but then she mentioned the movie campaign, and then she threw out a shout out to Hal and dressed up like him as the woodsman. It was really funny.
That was funny. totally caught me by surprise. Made me laugh.
People are saying, Reggie saying, have you tried talking to any real producers? Why? I can't really. I can't, this is something I have to do because I can't make any money on this. It's it's just a fan film, and it's just not a. It's not, you can't to get real producers on board. What's the point of that? I mean, I've done it. I've produced stuff for people, but you're not going to go to Hollywood and get a real producer to be like, hey, how would you like to work on something for a few months and not get paid? Yeah, that's really going to happen. No. Millie wants to know where is your Woodsman doll order? And Alice Lynch is here saying, got a light. Oh, Reggie wants to know that Harvey Weinstein is looking for a job if I need a producer.
Wow.
Lawrence Brennan says, Annie was my Twin Peaks crush, as well as Catherine. Catherine Martell?
Catherine Martell.
That's full taste.
Stephanie says she thinks the trailer looks amazing. I can't wait to see the movie. George says the trailer is very intriguing. Lawrence wants to know if I film any scenes in Minnesota, let him know. Alice says she loves the trailer. And George says Harvey Weinstein is cancer. So there it is. Listen, I want my film to get good press. I've tweeted out the links to media outlets, entertainment, just to kind of get the word out there. None of them have taken the bite just yet. A few of them have posted articles, very nice people, but in terms of the big guys and stuff, that they're not really touching this, unfortunately. But if I got Harvey Weinstein to be the producer of the film, they would be touching this film in all the wrong ways. No pun intended. And frankly, I don't want to have to give that man a massage after the shower.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think your actress playing Annie would be happy if Harvey was involved.
No. And I don't think I would be happy if I had to do anything to get that movie properly financed. So you guys can help me out with $1 or $2 so I don't have to go to Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, let's get some money here, people.
I don't want to be on my knees in front of Harvey Weinstein. Begging for cash. Good Lord.
Okay, first of all, Nick, who finally got himself a Blu-ray of season 3 tonight. Congratulations. He did say, yes.
You got the one copy?
Yeah, he says that this is certainly not he says this is not the year to put up mistletoe at your work.
Oh no. That is very true.
Okay. Buster says, hey, 25 grand is pocket lint for Lynch. He should toss you some dough. Hey, I have a better idea, Buster. I have a better idea. How about instead of Lynch sending some money to me, if they're not going to do season 4 for a while, why don't they invite me down to the Showtime offices so I can pitch them this idea and maybe make it official for Showtime? That's what I would love to do. So forget about,
become a story consultant for Lynch Frost Productions.
My gosh, can you imagine? That'd be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And who better? Seriously, there's no one better than you to do it.
You think Lynch and Frost want me there and I point out continuity?
No.
Excuse me. This will not make sense.
I think you might have been able to write a better book than Mark Frost. I'm not a big fan of it.
You didn't like it. You didn't like it.
I it's not that I didn't like it. I was more dissatisfied with that than I was with the show. People talk about how they're dissatisfied with the show. I was dissatisfied with the book. I thought it was. I don't want to get negative. It just didn't do much for me. I'm just going, yeah. I'd rather have seen it. It was bad. It was dark. It was like, I don't know.
Reggie says
not a big fan.
Reggie says the final dossier read like fan fiction.
Right.
But not good fan fiction. Because
Right.
fan fiction like involves itself in its characters.
Right. It seemed dashed off. It seemed almost like,
did you think that
afterthought.
Did you think the Donna Hayward chapter was a deliberate dig at Lara Flynn Boyle?
Yeah, it's
aspects of it.
Yeah, and deliberate digs at us. It's like the whole how's anything? I'm fine. It's almost like, I don't know. It just fell flat for me.
Can I? Let me just put on my egotistical hat on for 1 second, okay?
Okay.
I will make that story better.
Go for it, man.
Without ruining the continuity that Mark Frost and David Lynch have already put forth.
Yeah.
So
that'd be great.
Now, Mandy, who outed me out on this video by telling me that, or telling you guys that I spoiled episode 14 for her because she asked. I've made it up in other ways by having her sort of be a springboard throughout this early process of making this film. So she knows quite a bit about what I'm working on, and without giving people spoilers, obviously, about everything. Seriously, I'm not saying this just to, puff this video up at the end, but if you are a Twin Peaks fan, if you do follow these podcasts, how excited should people be if I get to make this film?
Well, super duper.
No pressure.
Obviously. No pressure. No spoilers too, but you know how at the beginning of, or halfway through season 3, we were like, this is the story we never knew we wanted? That's exactly what this movie is. This is a story we never knew we wanted. And it is fantastic.
But once you get it, you're going to not want to not think about it ever again.
You interrupted my flow, man.
I'm sorry. Thought you were done.
Anyway, it's really good. Give us money.
No.
Like, seriously, like, I'm super excited about this because when you first told me the idea of what it was that you were doing or what the story was, I was like, that's incredible. What a great thing to pick and pull apart. So I'm just, and your knowledge and your narrative are, I'm not good with adjectives. They're fantastic. I can't wait to see what you do with this. And I can't wait for people to be like, wow, I didn't know I wanted this story, and this story is so good. Does that make sense? Kind of?
Well, it does to me, because I try to think about, like, if somebody, this is the story that I've always wanted to see.
Mm-hmm. And really, I mean, people have been watching your videos for years. People know you. They know how much of a Twin Peaks nerd you are, how much knowledge you have, how passionate you are for it. There's no one better to trust with creating a project like this, because unfortunately you're not on the payroll of Showtime. So in the meantime, like, you're going to make something spectacular. So. And
it will not ruin Twin Peaks in name.
Never.
And nor am I trying to be David Lynch or Mark Frost at all. It's not like, I had different people contact me after the trailer dropped, and they're like, oh, it's really good. And then one person was like, but you know what? I was missing that David Lynch vibe to it, with the industrial sounds and that type of thing. And I said, look, I'm not David Lynch. I'm not trying to be David Lynch. I'm trying to tell this story as me as being the filmmaker. Do you realize how repulsive that trailer would be if I tried to make it in the style of David Lynch? The reason why David Lynch makes David Lynch movies is because he's David Lynch.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'd be silly if he tried to do a homage. It would be seen as a pale imitation, parody, whatever. You got to have your own. It's a fan film, so you're telling it. You're going off on a tangent, but the key is your passion and your knowledge of the show will make it a great project. I'm convinced of it. So.
And that's why I think that promotional trailer that I dropped in 1080 yesterday, I think that's why it works really well, because even though it just gives you a sense of a hint of where we may be going, and just you can hear Annie's words, and it's an interior monologue, but to me it feels like what Annie Blackburn would be thinking a few days after season 2 ended. So anyway,
can't wait.
I'm really excited. Got a month left, guys. Keep feeding that campaign if you can, because oh man, I would really like to make this film. I think it would be super fun, and I think all you guys would really enjoy it, truly. But anyway, let's end on that note. Mandy, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Listen, I needed to do this podcast because we weren't going to have the season 3 Blu-ray to watch tonight, so we all needed to sit together as fans and discuss this show and discuss why we love it, while we patiently wait for our order to show up. So Hal, I know it's super late for you, but thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it was my pleasure as well. And we'll have to come back in formation once we get those discs on our hands and watch all this bonus features. And we'll discuss.
I think we're going to do a thought of the day videos for those. I don't want to do it like the final dossier where we do a whole video about each featurette. That would be insane. Yeah. And then there's really good shot of like Lynch when he said this, like, no. No.
Yeah, let's all watch him and then come in and discuss, because 8 hours, that shouldn't be too hard to get through.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Do you know how fast I plowed through those first 4 episodes? I watched the first 2 on Showtime, and then I immediately watched 3 and 4 because they dropped them, and then I immediately did that like my reaction video like right afterwards. So it was just insane. We all consumed pretty much. I know you waited the next day, Hal, but it was like I consumed 2 Fire Walk With Me's in that first night. It was a little overwhelming.
Yeah, that's why I saved it for the next night. It's like it's almost too much to take in.
And the fact that they ended it on that, which is, look, there's so much about this season I love. But if you were to ask me what is one of the greatest prolonged sequences in the series, has to be the end of episode 4 when they interrogate the doppelganger in prison.
And he's like,
and he's like this.
Yeah, that was one of the most intense, scary scenes. Yeah,
so scary. And then to go from that to Lynch going, "Warden, I want you to give him his private phone call, and I expect to hear all about it."
Yeah.
And then it went right into the blue scene, which to me, in a way, I know this is crazy. I know this is a long shot. That scene may just get David Lynch a Golden Globe nomination for supporting actor, or whatever the next award show is. That scene, that's not. Listen, he's Gordon Cole. He's David Lynch. I get it. That scene is so subtle. It's so quiet. The way him and Albert are talking to each other. It's funny. It's interesting. They mentioned the blue rose, but it's not done like, some of other Lynch's stuff where it's like, we're going to hint at things and then we're not going to really explore it. You felt like it was a real conversation between 2 old friends. It didn't feel like Lynch kind of, playfully teasing everybody. Yeah, they get that little thing at the end, like, one person needs to see him. I know where she drinks. Okay, great. That's a good way to end the episode. But it really feels like a genuine conversation, and it's so subtle. Where he's like, Albert.
Yeah.
Albert.
Yeah. Those 3 Alberts were fantastic.
And then with the sound of was it a plane or whatever getting really high pitched, and then it dies down, and then he goes, Albert.
Yeah.
It's just gives me the creeps.
Yeah. That would be great. That would be great if he gets a Golden Globe nomination as director and actor.
Yeah.
Be cool.
George says blue scene was Lynch orgasmic. And
Lynch-gasmic.
Yeah. Oh, there's a new hashtag Lynchgasmic.
Yeah.
There's our. Let's see it. Let's see if all those Twitter Lynch pages start retweeting stuff if you start hashtagging Lynchgasmic. Oh yeah, Bill says that scene was also very moving because we knew Albert was gone.
True.
Reggie says Rolling Stone just named Twin Peaks the best TV show of the year.
They did, yeah.
And Reggie says, yes, the blue scene is the best scene because we got the Tammy pan down.
Right. Okay, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. George is already leading the army, our Lynchgasmic army hashtag. And Nick says, yes, Twin Peaks was orgasmic. Wow. We had a lot of Lynch Twin Peaks fans needed to do a lot of cleanup after episode 4, apparently. All right.
So the Blu-ray is going to come with a box of Kleenex.
Okay, let's wrap this
All right,
up.
Mandy's like, we're out of here.
It's the Blue Rose edition, not the Blue Ball edition now.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, all that great joy. If you need to get a hold of me, send me a tweet, Facebook, email me. You know the drill. So anyway, guys, thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Hal. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for joining in the chat. We will see you next time. Take care. And until then, hope your Blu-rays get to you. Bye.